morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you wherever you are, however you may be listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. It's a great day to be alive. You know, the sun's still shining when I close my eyes. It is the sunshiny day here in Mesa, Arizona. Gonna have a nice high of 70 degrees and sunny today, so my bad for everybody else who lives literally everywhere in this country where it's cold and snowy, except for here. So sorry about that. Super colorful hat was the guess. That's a good guess. That was a good guess there. Cold as hell in Michigan. Yeah, I don't know how you guys do that. I don't know how you survive winters. I've been too spoiled. Cold days where you're stuck inside. Not my favorite. What's up, Jen?
I like
shocker.
cold days
Yeah,
inside.
shocker.
If it's raining, it's my absolute favorite.
Jen likes cold tea. She likes cold bodies.
Only if I have to hide them somewhere.
That's crazy to like the cold. Are you cold pizza? It's a good question.
No, I like my pizza warm.
I like cold pizza. I'm a big fan of cold pizza.
I mean, it's not the worst, but it's not my favorite. I've had warm coffee a couple days in a row this week.
Yeah, what's going on with you?
I don't know.
It's
it's chilly here.
You're getting soft.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely not that.
Yeah, you are. You're getting soft in your old age.
Oh, you crack me up with this old age shit.
She's going to start knitting soon and telling people she loves them.
Knitting's too calm.
I know. That's the thing. You're going to do it.
I don't think that'll happen, but.
How was your night on TikTok last night? I saw you made some appearances.
Yeah, I stopped by. Admir, I don't know. Admir always invites me up. Like I was in there for a little bit, and then he invites me up. So it was fine. I wasn't necessarily having to argue with anybody. There was someone. I don't know if you've seen him before, but he has a username of Bronco, and he likes to go on and yell at Good Trouble.
I don't know. I probably have. You know me. I don't remember anybody. Yeah. I have the worst memory.
So he was there. He hopped up and he was saying nice things about me, which was awkward. But
sorry about that. That must have been devastating.
It was weird, but I mean, it was fine. I was there for a little bit. So there was that. I mean, much better than having before when I took Spawn to the orthodontist. She's got her second phase of braces that she's gonna be going through, so that's fun.
Oof. Somebody just said Jones is back on Instagram. Is he trying to recreate?
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, he's posting on Instagram.
Yeah, dumb bitch. Let me see if I can find it. I'm probably blocked. I don't know. What's his Instagram name?
I don't know.
Like Tough. Oh, I think I might have just seen it.
Probably.
There it is, Mr. Jones X.
Yeah.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, I think I can say. I'm in a small group chat, and so I've actually seen all these pictures that he posted on Instagram, and that lady, I forget her name, that they're with, that candidate that they're with, and Jones claims that he's like a speechwriter for her. I've seen the text messages to her where they're like, hey, he said he's a speechwriter. She's like, I don't know who that guy is. He just wanted to take pictures, and he kept trying to put his kids in the pictures with me. So
that's so
yeah. I mean, using his kids.
I'm surprised he hasn't made another return or attempted return. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet, to be honest.
Well, I think it was in the works. I think he was close to doing it, and there's just no shot. There's just no shot it's coming back.
Yeah,
that's a dead one. If you're on the right, you can come back from that. You can't come back from that on the left. The right doesn't care. You can scam the fuck out. I think you get more credit after you've scammed a bunch of people. You can run for president.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Yeah, that's not untrue. But well, I mean, other than that, that was all. Like I said, the orthodontist, which is ironically, I had braces when I was younger, and my dad made a comment that like my dad had motorcycles when he was younger, that he had to sell his motorcycle to put it in my sister and my mouth because braces aren't cheap.
Weird way to say that, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I get it. I get the the cost analogy, I guess. But so she's not necessarily thrilled because she's going to have they call it an appliance that she's not exactly, but she should be out of them before high school.
Is that like the twist, the thing you have to like twist?
She's already had that. She went through that with phase 1. So
I had an easy go with braces. Mine weren't that bad. So I didn't, I think I only had braces for like 6 months or something like that. I had a good run.
I had braces on in 4th grade, off by 6th grade. And they weren't that bad.
When did you hit puberty? When you were like 8?
It goes by when you have all your adult teeth. And
I know, but doesn't that usually go together? Or no? Am I crazy?
I had all of my adult teeth by the time I was in except 4th grade. So
you watch the show Veep?
Huh? I've seen episodes.
That's like a joke about Jonah, is that he had all his adult teeth by the time he was like 8. That's a joke in that show.
Oh.
Oh, that was you.
Amy's comment got flagged on YouTube, but she said Jen's a biter for sure. I mean, that's not necessarily.
Do you bite people? Are you a biter?
Only for having a good time.
And then I know this is oversharing, and I'm trying not to be uncomfortable, but I am curious if you're if you bite people.
I mean, when I was a kid, no, but maybe in other situations if the time warrants it.
All right.
But
there we go.
So yeah, if you guys, I'm waiting for you to get uncomfortable. I know you hate this stuff, so how long.
Real quick, are we live on TikTok?
Yeah.
It never loaded a TikTok chat for me, and it's not loading in multi-stream, so I can't see anything TikTok is saying today.
Yeah, it's up.
Huh.
Everyone's saying yes.
All right, love you guys. Sorry about that. Maybe it'll refresh at some point. Usually it pops up a window too. Wonder if I can go into TikTok and pull that up. Is there an option for that? I don't know.
Is there a way to add that to Streamlabs? Is it something maybe you turned off on accident?
No, it's kind of like finicky. Sometimes it loads into the multi-stream chat, and other times it doesn't. And when it doesn't, usually it auto-populates a window on like Google Chrome, and I can just pull the chat over. But wait, what the hell? It's showing up in the YouTube chat. What in the world is going on?
I don't know. All right. Well, just while we're getting going, just want to remind everybody of the gift goal. I want to wrap that up by the end of the show. So the pay links you can see, and also super chats. If you haven't subscribed to us already, please do so. You can subscribe wherever you're watching. And if you are watching on Twitch, you can use an Amazon Prime sub. Use Spaces and money. You don't have to use your own. If you're a paid member on any of the platforms, you can join us for our members only events that we have upcoming. Not this next Monday, but the Monday after. We'll be watching the second part of Hitler and the Nazis. And so if you guys want to join us for that, please subscribe. If you guys are opposition, you disagree with our TP, you can send me a message on Discord. My Discord is Jen with 2 N's, Dub with 2 B's, the number 1. It's the same as you can see where the B app is. You don't have to send any money, but you can add me on Discord and I can bring you up to talk in real time. Check out the link tree in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch. Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify. What do pigs use to moisturize their skin?
Ointment?
Yes.
Yeah, really? Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And then, since you got that one, how do most cannibals start their day?
I don't know.
With a nice cup of Joe.
Ew, gross. All right. Shout out cannibals. Sorry if we have any cannibals here. Not trying to offend any of you with the cannibal jokes. Don't eat us. New frontiers in MAGA fundraising. I saw this yesterday, screenshot, and then I couldn't find it, but luckily somebody posted a video of it. This is what Donald Trump is now doing. This is somebody's inbox here. The title, Are you an illegal alien? This is a fundraising email. I reached out last week about my citizens only survey. Your file says you're a top MAGA patriot. Now, I've seen the citizens only survey too. What it does is it has you take a survey, but the only way, mother goddamn fuck, I always do this. Sorry, every day. Sorry, we'll start over. There, you can see there. Are you an illegal alien? I reached out last week about my citizens only survey. And you have to pay to take these surveys. This is the way they do their fundraising. They're like, take the survey, and then there's like a minimum amount of $20 in order to, I think, submit the survey. Usually, I think you can go through it first and then submit it. This says your file says you're a top MAGA patriot, but my records to the survey still say response pending. Don't tell me you're an illegal alien. That's a fundraising email. That's how stupid, not only how stupid they think their voters are, but perhaps how stupid their voters actually are. Yeah, this works. That cannot be true. This is your final moment to prove me wrong, Laura. Please. Are you a proud American citizen, or does ICE need to come and track you down? I don't know. That's I guess we laugh. I don't really know what to do with any of this shit. That's why is this your president? Here's the survey here. Are you an American citizen or an illegal alien? Feels like there's other options there. What region of the country do you currently live in? What age range do you fall under? Are you male, female, or I'm insane? They've added on there now just for transphobic people. How do you lean politically conservative, liberal, independent, undecided? Do you agree only United States citizens should be allowed to vote in our elections? But this one is driving me fucking nuts. Can you all, MAGA, stop it? Will you please stop? Just stop it. You have Anna Paulina Luna now threatening to stop pushing bills through the House unless the Senate allows a vote on the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act requires that you have, and what they say it requires is that you have to have ID to vote. You have to prove your citizenship to vote. That already exists in all 50 states. In order to register to vote, you have to prove your citizenship already. Can we stop that? You are not allowed to vote in elections if you are not a United States citizen. It's not, I don't know why you guys allow members of Congress to push legislation for things that already exist, and now they're threatening to hold up Congress if they don't pass this act. I'll have to read through the act because I'm guessing there's something about voter rolls, there's something about voter suppression in there. But publicly, on its face, what they're all saying is that it's about requiring ID. Isn't there a provision that your name has to match your birth certificate, which would unregister any person who changes their name? I don't know. We could look. Does the SAVE Act? Let's see. That would be crazy. SAVE Act does not explicitly require a voter's birth certificate to match their current legal name for voter registration. It mandates documentary proof of U.S. citizenship, like a certified birth certificate, passport, naturalization certificate, when registering or updating voter registration for federal elections. That already exists.
For real IDs, you have to have that has to match.
Oh, for a real
I had
ID?
to do that with mine. For the real ID. So I had to go to my DMV and bring my birth certificate. And proof, like, because my name's not the same as it was when I was born. So I had to bring my birth certificate to show my original name and evidence of why my name changed.
Wait, but now this is saying the bill specifies that a birth certificate must include the applicant's full name at birth, date of, okay. It pairs with a photo ID, but doesn't state that the names must identically match. Critics argue that the name mismatches could create barriers, as 20% of citizens' birth certificates won't align with current names, affecting millions, especially married women. This bill allows states to establish processes for resolving documentation discrepancies with additional proof. Oh, okay, that makes sense. This gives red states the ability to then add impediments That makes perfect sense. Okay. Real ID, driver's license, or military IDs alone aren't sufficient without supplemental citizenship docs like a birth certificate. Isn't that the whole reason we have Real ID? Wasn't that the purpose of Real ID, so that we didn't have to do this shit? And now we've got Real ID, and they're like, yeah, you still got to do all this shit. Isn't that why we did Real ID? If I remember correctly, that's why we had that battle. All right. Back to this survey. Do you believe that every illegal immigrant should be deported? Yes, they all broke the law, or no? Do you think what do you think President Trump should prioritize over the next few weeks? There you go. And in order to complete the citizens only survey, you can do $26, $50, $100, $250, $500, $1,000, $3,300. Let's see if it's doing the. I'm asking you to consider making a small sustaining contribution. Let's see if this. Make this a monthly recurring. Oh, see, this is what they do that's sketchy too. You click on this box, and in big print, I am President Donald J. Trump, which is a weird. You can't click that. You can't click the box that's I am President Donald J. Trump. That's a weird start. You're the only reason we saved America. Now I'm asking you to consider making a small sustaining contribution so we can complete the MAGA agenda. Can I count on your support? And then in small writing, make this a monthly recurring donation. Now, he's been sued for this multiple times, especially with elderly folks. They didn't know that they were making recurring donations. And then it turns out they've spent thousands of dollars to Trump by clicking this box. And clearly they're not making this obvious. Clearly, like, they're trying to make it so that you don't really know you're doing a recurring donation. This one, it's President Trump. Again, you can't click a box because you're not President Trump, and your name is still missing from my prestigious MAGA roster. Keep this box checked to confirm you're still one of my strongest supporters. Donate an additional $0 automatically on 131. What that really means. So this was the first presidential election in decades. Republicans won the popular vote suspiciously. Yeah. There we go. Well, he's fundraising for his PAC. I think this is going to. Which PAC did this go to? The Save America PAC, which is his. I think, or is his? He has a MAGA PAC. This is from Never Surrender Inc. Inc. Wait, Inc. Why is this Inc? What is Never Surrender Inc? What do they cover? Okay, so they are a nonprofit based in Minnesota, focused on raising funds to support people with. Oh, that can't be right. It says that the AI might have got this one wrong, that it's focused on raising funds to support people with ALS. It might be a different one. Note a separate FEC registered Never Surrender Inc. appears as a political leadership PAC, but it's unrelated. Okay, it's just a leadership PAC. God, yeah, exactly. He's such a fucking scumbag. He is such a fucking scumbag. Just grifting all day long, duping his poor followers into giving him money all the time. Yeah. Let's see. I thought this was interesting. Now, some of this I've wondered is hyperbole, but it's being reported by PBS News. And sorry, TikTok in advance. If you're on TikTok right now, we'll see. We're going to find out just how lenient TikTok is, because we're going to play this PBS video of censorship by TikTok. So we're about to find out.
Days after a group of mainly American investors approved by President Donald Trump took over control of TikTok's U.S. operations, some users now say the app is censoring and limiting their content, including posts and messages about Jeffrey Epstein and the shooting deaths of U.S. citizens by federal agents in Minneapolis. One content creator says his U.S.-based followers couldn't access his post about the shooting death of Renee Good.
So this is how it should appear. The latest video under my 3 pinned videos is the ICE shooting analysis. But this is what my page looks like according to people who message me. And even weirder, this is how it appears in their watch history, a blank square. The red X mark is just them pointing it out to me.
And California State Senator Scott Wiener said TikTok wouldn't let him.
Now that's new to me. I've never seen that before. I certainly know what it's like to be throttled. We've been throttled for a long time. The second we started talking about Palestine, the growth was over. You can actually just watch like the growth chart. It's like do 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 do, and it just flatlined. And in fact, for a while, I was losing followers when we started talking about Palestine. But none of our stuff gets pushed out. I can go look through like my videos, and if I look at the views, it can break down. Like it's almost exclusively followers now. We don't get pushed out anywhere. So I'm aware of that. And also TikTok censorship doesn't make a lot of sense because it's AI driven. Nobody ever gives you a reason for anything that happened over there. They just end you out of nowhere. And that'll probably happen today.
Tim shared this post about ICE for several hours.
I am advancing a bill now to say that in California, it's not going to be just local and state law enforcement who can be sued if they violate your rights, but federal agents
Relax, Ross Ferratu. Jesus.
can as well.
California Governor Gavin Newsom announced a new state investigation to determine whether TikTok is violating state law by censoring content critical of President Trump. The company issued a statement today saying it had suffered a cascading systems failure that had caused multiple bugs on the platform after a power outage at one of its U.S. data centers.
It was a power
For
outage,
more,
guys. It's the power outage that started censoring content critical of the Trump regime. That's what it was. Just a little power outage.
By tech journalist Jacob Ward, host of the Rip Current podcast. Welcome back to the NewsHour, Jacob.
Hey, Jeff. Great to be with you.
So you have a lot of politically engaged
Thanks,
users
Jamie.
now saying they feel censored on TikTok, videos getting 0 views, their reach suddenly disappearing. Based on your reporting, what is going on here?
Well, I mean, I think on the one hand, it's important to just remember in the context of American public discourse, right, that the way we communicate with one another is controlled by a handful of private companies. And as a result, we don't get to know. So, Jeff, we don't really know. Is there some sort of censorship going on here? Or is this, as TikTok's new ownership says, a cascading failure that originated from one of its data centers? What I can say is that it seems as if every kind of creator trying to post content, whether they were cooks or makeup artists or political content creators, none of them could post for a while there. And so it doesn't seem like it's specifically aimed at it. But if you're someone whose work is consistently something that speaks...
Right, but that's not what the first claim was, right? The first claim wasn't that we couldn't post. The claim was that people are watching the videos and then it's not showing up.
out against the government at the moment, then you're going to feel particularly persecuted. But it seems that it sort of went across everybody. So at the moment, this doesn't feel like it was an intentional piece of censorship. I think this ownership group is too newly in charge to make that kind of move. But that's not to be confused with the idea that they couldn't do that. I think the capability of doing so is incredibly powerful and worth watching.
Well, let's talk more about that, because people point to Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter, now X, as an example of how ownership can reshape a platform's ideology. So given how this deal came together and who approved it, is TikTok vulnerable to that same kind of shift?
Yeah, well, Musk rewrote the rules of what any of us expect as to how ownership of a major communications platform would work, right? And so you're absolutely right to bring him.
Yeah, good point. His voice, I'm with you there. Call me Edamame. That voice is lovely.
Up because he really sort of like changed the game. And now we're in a world where close allies of the President of the United States now are co-owners of this incredibly powerful and influential platform. And what they have bought from this Chinese consortium, and sort of in partnership with this Chinese consortium, is a very sophisticated system for censoring anything you want. Because this thing had its origins in China, it has incredible capability.
So I think that's probably smart. Greg, he said, based on how TikTok works, my thought is new ownership plugged some keywords into censorship stuff. China was running forever, but had no clue how to tune it, so it went to default heavy-handed mode. I think that that's probably reasonable. I mean, some of the stuff like early on when they first started using AI to recognize things, the stuff that you would get banned for was crazy. I mean, to the point that people don't say gun, people don't say like abortion. There's all like die, all those words. We had to create new ways to say words just so that the auto mod wouldn't ban your account.
Abilities to detect in real time whether you're saying things it doesn't want you to say. I have been in the position of making reference to the Nazis during World War II, and the word Nazi can get you kicked off of a live stream or get the reach of your post put away. So it's very easy to do so. I don't think it's happening right now, but if in future they decided to do what Musk decided to do, they would have every kind of controls available to them to pull that off, because that is exactly how TikTok is built.
And TikTok recently updated its terms of service. So what should users of this platform understand?
Yeah, in many ways, they've just sort of rewritten a more broad set of language.
That's right. YT is a good one. Can't say white.
For capabilities that the platform seems to have had before. But for instance, they're saying that they can much more precisely track your location. You can turn that off in your device settings on your phone. They also say that they'll be able to follow you elsewhere when you are elsewhere off of the platform. They can send advertising out to get you. So that's something you can also turn off. But all of this, I think we should remember, is pretty standard issue for the surveillance capitalist world we are in currently. All of these platforms are trying to do the same kind of stuff. Just this is a more explicitly spelled out thing in the terms of service here, Jeff.
There you go, from the horse's mouth from PBS. I don't know where I'm at on it. I know a lot of people deleted TikTok when they got the new terms of service. Jen and I talked about it. I didn't see a huge difference between the last terms of service and the new ones. I also understand why nobody trusts TikTok and Larry Ellison. So I don't know where I haven't really decided where I land on that yet. I don't particularly like what the app has become. It is just, you just flip live to live and it's just rage. So I don't know. I don't know if I don't think it's probably not a net positive. And now it's Israeli spyware. Yeah, but I mean, honestly, everything is, right? Which of these platforms is not Israeli spyware? I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. But I understand the concerns that everybody has, especially with Larry Ellison. I think that the discussion about immigration as we shift is I think it's pretty obvious that Trump's losing this now. This is Mike Lawler he's a Republican from New York. And now Mike Lawler, I don't know if he's been watching the show, but Mike Lawler's just out here now pushing our policy as a Republican.
Amid the growing unrest. In an op-ed for the New York Times, New York Congressman Mike Lawler writing this: Congress and the president need to embrace a new comprehensive national immigration policy that acknowledges Americans' many legitimate concerns about how the government has conducted immigration policy. Americans are increasingly concerned about the Department of Homeland Security's enforcement operations, including in Minneapolis. Americans do not want chaos. They want a common sense bipartisan.
Hey guys, the white supremacist wants you to know that YouTube's unfair. It doesn't let him say his white supremacist thing. Sorry about that, Venus. I'm really sorry that YouTube doesn't let you be an open white supremacist. That must be devastating.
Solution. And we are pleased to be joined by Congressman Mike Lawler, who penned that. He also serves on the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman, what made you put this op-ed out? What triggered you the most about it?
Look, we can all acknowledge for 40 years we have been suffering under a broken immigration system, the failure for decades of both parties to secure the border, exacerbated under Joe Biden when he...
They just have to say it. It is honestly one of the most cringy things that Republicans do. They just have to say Joe Biden. They can't, because they know that what Mike Lawler knows right now is he's going on TV and he's gonna offer something that's a little bit different than what Trump has offered. And in order to maintain a level of cooperation with the Republicans, he's like, don't worry, guys, I'm still blaming Joe Biden for this. Almost none of the people being deported came in under Joe Biden. Most of those people, except for the ones with like pending asylum claims. Very few of the people being deported came in during the Biden administration, but they just have to do it. They have to speak to their base. They have to go, hey, look, this isn't working, but it's totally not our fault. It's definitely Joe Biden's fault.
Allowed over 10 million migrants to come into the country. Donald Trump promised to fix it.
Notice how he said migrants there and not illegal immigrants? Problem with Mike Lawler is he's not really willing to lie on the same level as everybody else. So that's why he didn't say illegal aliens or illegal immigrants. He said migrants because he's actually being factual there. It was migrants. It wasn't illegal immigrants. It wasn't illegal aliens. It was migrants.
And by and large, he has. He has effectively stopped illegal border crossings into the country. And I think the vast majority of Americans support that and are happy about it. In addition, he has won the argument on deporting criminal aliens. You now.
So Sophia said, "Thank you for all your work you do." And Jen is amazing as well. You two are an amazing team. Thank you, also, Sophia. That was very generous. Cookie Nib said, "Happy you're live today. Thanks for all you and Jen do. Appreciate that."
Have Democrats saying that they support that when they wouldn't say that for decades. And obviously,
I agree with that, NW Paul. If you're defending pedophiles and murderers, you're the bad guy. Do not defend the Trump administration. Do not defend Donald Trump. Stop defending the people who are covering up the Epstein files and the brutal trafficking and sexual assaults and rapes of children and adults. I agree with you. Thank you for pointing that out, and thank you for being here. That was really poignant. Thank you for bringing that up.
These sanctuary city policies, I think most Americans object to. But I think everybody can look and say, at the same token, we don't want to see anybody dying in the streets. We don't want to see conflict between Americans and federal law enforcement. Democrats have been stoking that, calling ICE the Gestapo, which is most assuredly not helpful, and something that we should all.
He's getting in all the talking points. Plus, people are saying the Gestapo. They're saying the mean things to those ISIS. Just tell us about the legislation, please.
Push back against. But there needs to be greater cooperation. And I think yesterday's conversation between the president and Governor Walz and Mayor Fry was a positive step forward so that we can start to get cooperation between federal, state, and local officials. You saw it last night, finally, with the Minneapolis Police Department helping ICE push back against some of these protesters outside that hotel. That would have prevented.
If you call us Gestapo, it makes us behave like Gestapo. Yeah, exactly. We can't control our own behavior. So if you call us those names, we will be those names.
Did a lot of this. You see the cooperation in other states and cities, and you don't have this conflict. So I think there's a lot of positive steps forward that need to be taken. But I fundamentally believe if we are going to fix the issue facing our country.
Now, careful. He was going to make sense here.
Not only did we have to secure the border, not only did we have to deport criminal aliens, but you need a path forward. The fact is that you have people that have been in this country 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whose children and grandchildren are American citizens, who are participating in the workforce. You're not rounding them all up and kicking them out. So my view is you need to have a path that is not citizenship. I want to be very clear about that. Not citizenship, but a legal path forward so they come out of the shadows, they pay back taxes, they pay a fine, they don't collect government benefits, which unfortunately
Would you pay back taxes?
is happening all over the country, and they get a job. And we start to...
Yeah, that might make more sense, wouldn't it? It might make a little more sense, and instead of flooding the streets with angry losers who can't find a different job and get no training and they just want to come out and beat on immigrants, perhaps instead of flooding the streets with them, we could have sensible immigration policies. Perhaps when we're talking about people who have been here for 5, 10, 15 years and have never committed a crime and are just working, perhaps we just let them work. Perhaps it doesn't do us any good to do what ICE is doing. And again, I'll bring this back around, but this isn't helping you. You just like it. It's not helping. This isn't going to save our country money. It's going to cost us a fortune. It's going to be a nightmare for our country. It's killing our labor pool. It's killing people who want to come here and work. It's killing tourism. We're looking at like World Cup travel bookings, and they thought that the country would be absolutely full for the World Cup, and most of the world's looking at the United States going, I'm not really sure I want to go there. And why would you? What if you go to the soccer game, you forget to bring your papers with you, forget to bring your passport, and you just get swallowed up by some idiot ICE guy? Yeah, it's all damage. Whatever you think about immigrants in general, just if you look at the cost analysis here, if you look at the damage it's doing to local communities, local job markets, local agriculture, it's decimating all of it. And all just because a bunch of people had some scared feelings about immigrants. Trump did a good job scaring you that these immigrants were coming to get you. They were going to replace you. You weren't going to be able to have enough kids, and we were just bringing people in for votes. And he convinced you all of that to the point now that you're just cheerleading the dumbest fucking immigration policy this country's ever seen. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of resources. It's cruel. It's dividing the country. It's dividing communities. Now we have like the police turning on each other. You have ICE people that are working with ICE, career ICE officials, leaking like crazy to journalists, going like, "Dude, this is not okay. This isn't working." Now you have Mike Lawler even up here, a Republican, just saying this isn't working. It's obvious that it's not working. In the last 3 days, you've seen like a backtrack from the Trump administration. It's almost like we could have seen this coming.
Fix this system that has been broken for 40 years. Doing nothing is not an answer. And just sending, ICE all across the country with these protests, with local law enforcement not cooperating in certain cities and states, it's not going to solve the overarching problem.
Yeah,
So that's my perspective.
Yeah.
Dude sounds like he's okay with illegal criminals in this country killing Americans.
You might be stupid then. If that's what you got out of what I just said, then you might be too fucking dumb for this stream. You may want to take off. You may want to go somewhere else. That's a crazy thing that you just got from that. I'm like, hey, the people that are here who haven't committed crimes, maybe they should be able to work. And you're like, that means that they want them to kill everybody. I specifically said the people who have committed no crimes. Like specifically. I'm a little concerned about your comprehension, MAGA. Every day, I'm more and more convinced that you are dumber than I thought the previous day. Let's move on here. We had a hearing. You should go check this out. If you got a bunch of time to sit on YouTube and watch a hearing, you can watch the healthcare CEOs get ripped to shred by both Republicans and Democrats. AOC did a good job, but I wanted to show Dr. Murphy here. This is Representative Greg Murphy from Maryland. Recently back in Congress after brain surgery. I think he had brain cancer or something, but I think it was brain surgery. He mentions it in here. And he rips these health insurance CEOs to shreds. And if anybody knows me, this is catnip to me. Anytime we can bring healthcare executives in and direct questions at them and attack healthcare CEOs, I chub up a little bit. This is my favorite thing the government ever does.
5 weeks ago, and I don't care if I was on dialysis, if I had an LVAD in, or if I was intubated, I was going to be here. I have been a physician for 35 years, and sadly have had a front seat to witness the decay and decline of one of America's largest industries, and that's the health insurance industry. I have had patients cry in my room. I have had physicians cry to me, throw up their hands in disgust, and quit.
Fully bricked now, yeah. If we're going to yell at healthcare CEOs. Oh. It's my kink. If anybody was wondering what my kink was, it's yelling at healthcare CEOs.
Because of actions of our health insurance industry. Nothing you're going to say to me today is going to change that. You have put profits above patients, and you've put profits above those who care for patients. You're sitting here blaming hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, even physicians. There is blame to go around there. But you have squarely abused your privilege of authority to deliver health care to patients in this country.
Yeah, this guy's a Republican. It's Greg Murphy from Maryland, Republican.
There are a few bad actors a few good actors in the industry. Mika Markowitz, I believe you're one of the good actors. If it were up to me, I would throw out all for-profit systems in this country and turn everybody into non.
Oh, it's a Republican. A Republican said it. Did you guys hear that? We want to rewind it? Put a towel down. Let's rewind it.
Markowitz, I believe you're one of the good actors. If it were up to me, I would throw out all for-profit systems in this country and turn everybody into nonprofit. It has gotten that bad. But you all have
Oh my God. What is happening? We got a Republican talking about like soft amnesty, and then another Republican talking about rock hard nonprofit health insurance. What is going on today? This is unbelievable. This is what winning really looks like. When MAGA comes in here every day and goes,
Wibwo tills, Fuibo years of Wibwo tills. You guys are losing because Trump is the president.
no, this is what winning is. I don't give nobody here gives a fuck about Democrats. What we want is solid policy. And we've been saying it for years now that there's only one solution to fixing healthcare, and it's removing profit. Profit's got to be gone. Nobody should be profiting off of writing a check to pay for your healthcare. People can get paid to do administrative stuff, but nobody should be making profits. You shouldn't be able to invest in United Healthcare and receive dividends. That's crazy. I didn't think I was going to get bricked up by a Republican from Maryland today, but here we are.
Been very derelict in your duty and abused this position of authority. There has been systematic denial and delay of care. It took me 8 denials myself to get a medicine that I need to exist. A year and a half. I'm a physician and a member of Congress. It took me 8 times through CVS to get that medication. I didn't pull any strings. I did what I was supposed to do. Imagine the average person in the country. There's been a weaponization of prior authorization. You are killing people who are trying to deliver health care. There's been abuse with the Medicare Advantage plans. My God, I could talk about that for hours. Deceiving and extorting taxpayer dollars.
Hey, Patrick, I appreciate you being here, Patrick. What if today, just today, instead of every time you watching a clip, you play whataboutism, what if today you just listened and learned and engaged in the conversation? What if today, like Mr. Murphy here and like myself, we ignored party politics and we talked about the one fucking thing our government could actually do to make our lives better, which is removing profit from these health insurance companies? Yeah, like, I'm a fan of single payer, but this is a real solution. He's not advocating for single payer, but this is an actual solution. This is a real thing that we could do to make healthcare more affordable, and it could be like 100. It would vote bipartisanly. Just today, Patrick. Today, just do me a favor and listen to what he's saying, and don't try and make this right versus left. I specifically chose a Republican and finished early just so that the Republicans in the chat could watch this. Because if I show you AOC, or if I show you Bernie, or if I show you Elizabeth Warren, you're going to tune out. So that I did this for you, Patrick. Today's that day. I appreciate that. I did this for you. I brought a Republican so that you could pay attention.
The vertical integration that has occurred in this country is disastrous and criminal. There have been record profits. I don't want to hear about the fact you're not taking profits. We know how money gets moved around in these companies. The C-suite executive salary compensations is a slap in the face to the average American who goes bankrupt because they cannot afford health care. You all showed up last summer at HHS and you said to Secretary Kennedy, a mea culpa, yes, we've been doing things badly, we're going to fix things. I won't believe any of that until I see it, and so far, I've seen nothing. Surprise billing.
Oh, a Republican holding their feet to the fire. A Republican holding capitalist millionaires' feet to the fire. What is happening today? What is happening? You promised, and I don't believe you because you're full of shit because all you care about is money. Good God. It's a great day. It's a great moment for America. It'll be fucked up a little bit later in the show, but God, it is a great moment.
Bipartisan legislation passed into law by President Trump. You all own and keep millions of dollars that are owed to providers today that you're not paying them, that have been adjudicated in their favor. That is fraud. You know, United Healthcare, you guys give a wonderful thing that you're going to return Obamacare premium.
Somebody asked who was testifying. So you have United Healthcare CEO Stephen Hemsley, CVS Health CEO David Joyner, Elevance Health CEO Gail Boudreau, the Cigna Group CEO David Cordani, and Ascendian Paul Markovich.
I wonder and perplex whether it would have occurred if these hearings had not been there. But what about the billions of dollars that you've stolen from the American taxpayer but because people were fraudulently enrolled during COVID? I don't see that money coming back. Medicare Advantage. You've made the diagnosis secondary hyperparathyroidism.
That's such a good point that I admittedly have always missed, and I appreciate him pointing that out. There's a lot of talk about like the people that fraudulently were enrolled during COVID and they wanted to end those subsidies, right? How come they never asked these CEOs to give that money back? They're supposed to have checks on their end. They're supposed to make sure that people that are enrolling are doing so legally. Shouldn't they ask for that money back? Keep trying, Democrat, demon rats. This is a Republican. Who cares? This is a Republican. Why are you on at Democrats right now?
Thyroidism, an amazing thing. 70% of your MA patients have it, while 3% of fee-for-service patients have it. It's unbelievable. You've manipulated medical cost ratios by the way that you pay physicians and the way that you hide money through your PBMs. The vertical integration, you guys own PBMs, you own pharmacies, you own...
Smash Princess. The Dr. Murphy here. Dr. Murphy, by the way, low Q. Smash Prince wants you to know that this Dr. Murphy is a low IQ partisan Democrat that don't even know how to get affordable and fair health care. Bro, how'd you go low IQ partisan Democrat 0 for 1, don't know how to get affordable and fair health care, 0 for 2 on that one, pal. Fix your rage. Pay attention to what you're looking at. Don't just blindly react. Look how many Republicans in here are screaming at Democrats, not realizing this is a Republican.
Health agencies, physician groups. Good God, you own a bank. Why would an insurance company own a bank?
Fair question.
You know, I had a very spirited discussion with Dr. Decker a couple years ago, and I outlined all the Wall Street Journal articles documenting the egregious practices that were going on by United Healthcare. And all he had...
Marco isn't giving any viral clips away. That's true. Marco, and that's not surprising, Drew. I was watching Marco Rubio earlier.
Had to say, in an arrogant and audacious manner, was, we are doing nothing illegal. Well, right now, several of your organizations are under investigation for criminal and civil charges or for misconduct, and we'll see if things are not illegal. I am here with the outrage of the American people. You know, right now, we're trying to lower drug costs. Will each of you, I'd like a yes or no answer, will each of you commit to allowing Trump RX or cost-blood medications to go towards patient deductibles? Mr. Hemsley. I'll take that as a no.
I watched Mr. Hemsley. What an idiot. What kind of fucking loser can't remember to turn the mute button off and just talks blindly into a microphone and nobody, without realizing that he's muted, until everybody in the crowd has to tell him that he's muted. What kind of fucking loser does that?
I'll take that as a no. Mr. Joyner.
Absolutely. If it lowers costs for Americans.
Thank you. Ms. Boudreau.
For the lowest cost and affordability, we're open to figuring out how to make sure.
I hope it goes towards the doctor.
Two very soft yeses.
I'll take that as a yes. Mr. Cordani.
Our newest offering would accommodate that, yes, sir.
Excellent. Mr. Markovic, you
Yes.
don't own a PBM.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Young, you get a skip on that one. You know, I don't agree with Mark Cuban often, but we do agree that what needs to happen is that you guys need to be broken up. The vertical integration has destroyed competition.
Listen, I usually don't recover this quickly, but I'm ready for round 2. Round 2 is on the way, but round 2 takes a little longer. I can last a little longer on round 2. But round 2 is breaking up monopolies. We got a Republican who said, you guys shouldn't be for-profit entities, and now he's like, we need to break up monopolies. What in the fuck is happening in Congress today? What the fuck is happening? We got Republicans making sense on healthcare. Good Lord, have we won this messaging. Good fucking Lord, have we won this messaging. The Republicans are just like, fuck, I guess we could try that way. We could do it this way. I'm gonna have to change my pants, honestly. It's a tough day.
This country. And again, if I had my way, I'd turn all of you guys into dust. We'd start back from scratch. We'd have competition in the industry. We'd have associated.
Yeah, false alarm, didn't last. Round 2 was just as short. Turn them into dust? He wants to turn them into dust? My God almighty, what is happening? This is one of the best days of the Trump administration. This might be the best day of the Trump administration so far. Low bar, this might be the best day.
Health plans, and we would have nonprofit hospitals rather than profit being put over patients. Sadly enough, I'm not naive enough to believe that anything that's been said today is going to change boardroom behavior. I don't think it will happen. The bottom line is profit. And that's what's happened in this country, and this is where the American medical system, compared to the rest of the world, is sad.
Wait, whoa, no American exceptionalism? We got a Republican like, hey, our system fucking sucks. Everybody else's system is better. We're dog shit at this. What do? They don't have for-profit health insurance, and they break up monopolies. What in the, I might believe in Jesus. I might go back to church. I don't know what's going on today. It's got to be, thank you, Ross Ferratu. GOP internal polls must be absolutely brutal. It must be chaos in their internal polling because they showed up with healthcare CEOs and they're like, fuck you shouldn't make money. Where's every Republican that we've ever had in this chat like,
you have to increase competition. Get rid of the lines around the states. Let's do that. Increase the competition. Competition will mean the prices will go lower. Obamacare's actually who screwed this up.
Not one thing, not one mention of this was Obamacare's fault. He didn't even say Obama. We are 5 minutes and 29 seconds in, and he didn't blame Obama. He just talked directly to the CEOs about how they're fucking all this shit up. This is a great day for America, a great moment for America.
Comparatively. But finally, I am glad that we have a president in the office who doesn't care about special interest, who is willing to confront and tackle what I believe is unethical, unscrupulous, and unprincipled behavior of the American health insurance industry. President Trump has said he's going to do it. I believe he's going to do it, and it is long overdue.
Get a drink of water. Get a fan. Yeah, he does kind of fuck it up at the end there, but we'll ignore it. Whew. I feel good. Tony says they have to say aliens. They have to be racist. It might be. Sad Renee said delicious. Amy said breaking. Petty assailants have been put on leave. Oh, good. I guess we were right again. Republicans in the chat. Remember when I was like, shouldn't these people be put on leave? You're like, nah. Let them go to the next city. Glad to hear that. Thank you, Amy Lynn. Appreciate you as always. Breaking news and adding context. Number one ranked super chatter, I think, for sure. Did I miss any of these? What was this? The white nationalist got mad at me. What's up, bro? Explain how I'm a white supremacist with a mixed daughter and black friends. Could it be that there is a war against white Christians? Yeah, that's why I call you a white supremacist, because you think there's a war against white Christians. Yep, that's part of it. Yep. You can be a white supremacist and have a black girlfriend, kids, friends. You can do all of that. You can think you're better than people based on your skin color, and you can still be kind to people with a different skin color than you. You can both be a white supremacist and have black friends. So, yeah, but it's mostly the dipshittery of saying there's a war on white Christians, because there's no war on white Christians. That's nonsense. Like, what is this war on white? What's the war on white Christians? What is it? What are we doing? How are we going to war with you right now? I don't even know what we're doing. We're taking away your church. You're getting stripped of your rights currently. You guys don't use the word, for people who consistently go, what is a woman? You use the word war wrong incorrectly. I think what you're seeing is people just don't like you. That's not a war. That's just public perception. They think you suck. And most people outside of your white nationalist circles think that you suck. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you for asking it. It's not going to listen. I don't know what to do about Republicans today. This is former Republican member of Congress Trey Gowdy, who's now a Fox News contributor, also was a former prosecutor. He's from South Carolina. He's one of the strangest looking humans you'll ever see. Fun fact about me, when I was born, I was stuck in the birth canal for quite a long time, and my head came out like a cone head, but it reshaped back to normal-ish. Trey Gowdy's, I don't think, his head appears to have formed very quickly after he got stuck in the birth canal, but you're never going to guess what Trey Gowdy has to say.
I think there's a temptation in our culture to want to be first and not necessarily want to be right. I've seen this video. Look, I was a prosecutor. I used to watch these videos for a living. This guy is not a domestic terrorist, and I don't understand why it is so hard for those of us in public service to say from time to time, you know what, I got it wrong. I got it wrong. I was given bad information. I looked at the wrong evidence. I mean, people will trust you more if you say, you know what, I did not get that one right. The moral of the story is wait until the investigation is over, as hard as it is.
It's so hard. It's so hard not to lick ICE's asshole. It's so hard not to lick the boots, guys. I know we all want to lick the boots, but perhaps we could wait.
No matter where you are in law
and MAGA in the chat, yeah, right, dude. We react immediately and definitively. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy saying wait for the investigation. I don't really need to wait for the investigation to know that that what the ICE agent did over and over again was unwarranted and that it caused all of this escalation. I don't know why he felt like he needed to beat up a woman. I was talking to Admir last night, and he asked me about like the video of what's his name again? Petty. He's like, do you think that he actually touched the officer's shoulder? Like, I don't care. I don't care at all. If he is touching an officer's shoulder a death sentence now in this country? Hey guys, Jeff Spencer's going to learn a lesson. Jeff, guess what, bud? This is my favorite part, and everybody else hates this. But when you come in here while I'm playing a clip and you say, just play the clip, I don't play the clip. I make you sit here in uncomfortable silence. And everybody needs to know that this is Jeff Spencer's fault. We're going to do 20 seconds of silence, Jeff, just for you. All right, Jeff. Now I'll play the clip.
enforcement, let the facts lead your talking. Do not talk and then hope the facts match up later on. I think they're
falling apart. Not the party necessarily. The party, I don't think, is falling apart. What's falling apart is the narrative and the trust for Donald Trump and the trust for his administration. It takes a lot for Republicans to even tepidly suggest that the Trump administration's handling of something was less than perfect. This is about as close as you get to saying maybe they were wrong. And I think perhaps that the reason they're saying that right now is they see polls. They see where Trump's at on every single issue. It's not good. Now, not everybody has figured this out. Is this the right one? I actually copy and pasted that. Here is this the right one? I'm trying to remember this guy's name. Let me get his name real quick. I think it's going to show. I can't remember his name. Somebody was going to have to help me with his name. I accidentally deleted it. He's I don't even remember what his job is, but some Republicans still haven't gotten the memo, and some of them are still going to go out and trot out and try and make it seem like this wasn't an obvious cold-blooded murder of Alex Preddy.
About how
Drew said, "I hate it when I agree with the topic. No fun." Sorry, Drew. Sorry. My bad. Maybe we'll get you back.
this story is being portrayed in media, if we can. Here are just some headlines that we've seen and we've come across. Starting with this, Politico puts ICE shootings are freaking out the GOP. They're afraid to tell Trump. Time magazine, a horrifying situation. Republicans call for transparent investigation into fatal Minneapolis shooting. ABC News, congressional GOP criticism grows over Preddy shooting and Minnesota ICE operations. Does that...
Uh-oh, dear leader. Dear leader's getting some criticism. Now, they're all cowards. They do it. They leak it because they're cowardly and they don't want Trump to run a campaign against them, which he will do, which is a wild thing that you guys all just ignore. Everybody acknowledges that if you disagree with Trump, then he will attack you and he will campaign against you, which is crazy that you guys just openly admit that. Yeah. We're total cuck. All of us are cucks. We sit on the world's largest cuck chair and we beat off while Donald Trump does whatever he wants. And if anybody says maybe he shouldn't do that, then we throw them off the cuck chair and they can't finish and eat the cracker with us.
That concern, are you among those of the Republican Party that are concerned about how things are being handled?
Boy, it would be a shame if anybody saw Mark Rybeck Properties LLC. It would be a shame if somebody screenshotted him saying ICE to Minnesota 0. Be a shame somebody screenshotted that, wouldn't it, bud?
Handled in Minnesota.
I think we have to have total transparency. I think that's the first thing. When things went wrong in the military, when I was in the Marines, people died sometimes, and sometimes it was through no fault of anyone's, just bad circumstance. People make decisions that are rash sometimes when things are happening. Everybody wants the right thing to be done, but sometimes mistakes happen.
About how this story...
He won't even say it. He won't even go far enough. Just, but I'm going to float this out there. It could have been a mistake. Maybe I don't want to take a side here. It might have been a mistake. Somebody being murdered might have been a mistake. That's how far some Republicans are willing to go. Now it's just going to get worse through the rest of the day. I gave you the good Republicans early. But there are now 2 investigations that are open. And you would think that if you had 2 investigations that were open about the murder of Alex Preddy, at least one of them would be whether or not this was murder. Instead, here's the 2 cases that are open.
What we've learned is that there are 2 investigations going on by the federal government into this matter, but none of them are looking at the question of whether the federal agents violated Mr. Preddy's civil rights when they shot and killed him.
No investigation into that's the first one. That should be the first one. Was it a justified killing? Isn't that what we should be investigating right now?
There's a Customs and Border Protection Office of Professional Responsibility probe that will look at whether the officers followed policy. That's a departmental probe. It's civil. It's not criminal. Essentially, there's no teeth behind that. It's designed to assess whether they complied with policy. And then there's a separate investigation by a part of...
Which again, policy and law, those are 2 separate things. So we're going to make sure they complied with policy, not law.
DHS called Homeland Security Investigations. That's a big law enforcement agency. But what they're looking into is whether, as we understand it, whether Mr. Preddy violated the law, not whether the officers violated the law. And so the FBI and the Justice Department...
Yeah. Once again... investigating dead people. For Republicans, what law do you suspect he violated? What is your contention here today? What is the law that you think that Alex Preddy violated there? How about both? That would be fine too. It's me, Mud Paws. I mean, I don't mind if it was both. But I can't even figure out in watching the video, like, what law did he break? I know, delusional, just tell me, what did that say? Did you have a... Oh, you're talking about Obama? We got Obama and Marxists in the same sentence while we're talking about Alex Preddy. Aggravated assault? Where do you, Bimmer boy, where do you think the aggravated assault was? Which part of the video shows the aggravated assault? I'm looking, obstructing. What was he, what was he obstructing? I didn't see him impede. I didn't see him impeding, obstructing. He was like 50 feet away from the officer. When the officer approached him, he backed all the way up to the sidewalk. The officer then chased down that woman, followed her the whole way, and then shoved her to the ground. I just don't know what crime he committed here. They're using 18 USC 1. Even then, like, what did he do? I think this is a worse case. Like Renee Good's case is still an easy one, but that's a better case. The only time I've even seen him touch the officer is like when the officer pushed her to the ground and he kind of just stepped in the middle. Like the officer has no right to slam her to the ground. You notice the officer never detained the woman. She was never charged with anything. So was that just assault? You can't stand in the middle of an officer when he's assaulting somebody? What is it? This is crazy. I asked you guys, this is just a normal day. What's the evidence? This guy sucks. Got it. All right.
Which would traditionally examine a controversial law enforcement involved shooting like this are nowhere to be found. And in fact, I had a document read to me that said that the FBI was called in to help gather evidence initially, but they turned over most of that evidence to DHS. And so you have DHS essentially investigating itself. The FBI and the Justice Department are nowhere to be found. And so it's really raising a lot of questions. We talked to current and former FBI and Justice Department officials today who are really disturbed by this. They're saying that there has to be an independent, credible investigation here into the conduct of these law enforcement officers, and there just doesn't seem to be one, Chris.
You said, are we sure that woman wasn't detained? I didn't see her detained. Maybe she was. I haven't heard that she was detained. Some of you are pointing to the other incident he had like a week prior with ICE agents where he got a broken rib. Doesn't that kind of prove the point that whatever they did earlier when they broke his rib, they also didn't arrest him for that? You know what I mean? Like I've heard that they thought they knew who he was. Sounds to me like they're just beating people that are known to videotape them. That's what the whole video looks like to me. We want to go. We can go. I guess we can go back and watch it, but let's go watch the first part of it because I don't understand. There's at no point do I see any need for that officer to get out and to approach anybody. It will be interesting to see if the officer who was pushing the woman had a body cam because we might be able to see a few minutes before that. But let me see if I can find this video again. The full video. Well, we can do this one first. This is of the ICE officer pushing this woman to the ground. Like what's the justification for this? You can see this she's here, she's walking away. The ICE officer is approaching Alex Preddy and this woman. And then she just says something, which she's allowed to do. She steps back. She doesn't try and assault him. And he throws her to the ground. You know what, honestly, I never got the video from inside the car. If you want to send it to Jen, I still haven't seen it, but I mean, what was this? He's going after these people. She says something to him. What warrants that? Somebody want to tell me what warrants this assault right here? Why is he attacking a woman? She said mean words? And then here's where they're claiming this aggravated assault is. He just steps in front and raises his hands. This is aggravated assault? Wait, I'd ask this too, Hot Topic. You said you're looking at 10 seconds trying to judge a day's worth of these hooligans. You don't get to have somebody do something and then later on, when they're not doing that crime, punish them for that crime. I don't need to look. I don't need to know what happened days earlier. I don't need to know what happened earlier in this day. This is still not okay. It doesn't matter what she said to that ICE officer. That's assault. And that's also a big dumb bitch. A sensitive little bitch. That's why he works for ICE. And this is supposed to be like an elite force too. This was Bavino's crew. What are the, I forget what the name of their crew is. I forget the name that they have on their jackets. This is like the elite of the elite. So we've got assault there. No assault there. Being pepper sprayed. Now he can't see. Tries to help the woman up. Where's all these assaults? Blame Tim Walz. That's what I would do too if I was a dipshit and I didn't want to admit anything. It's Tim Walz's fault. I saw today there's a clip from one of the sheriffs in Minnesota, I think Minneapolis maybe, and he said that over the last year, they have confiscated 900 guns from people that they arrested, and they have shot 0 people. 900. Never shot anybody. Cut off right before the assault? No, I showed you the. I can pull up another video. We can get the full video. Jen, did they send it to you? Let's see. Oh, this is the car video? This is the one I haven't seen yet. Why is it doing this? I need to mute this. All right. All right, so this is the part where they say the assault happened. See if we can see any of it. I mean, there's an assault. Hands up, back turned. He even steps away. The guy doesn't step forward to him. Then he has to go back and get the guy again. The guy's clearly not coming forward towards him, moving away from him. Where's the assault there? Why do I think the pepper spray is out? Because these guys are all bitches. That's why. I think that they enjoy hurting people. I think that these are bitch-made pussies that put on masks every day and go out and harm people. Why do you think that they're pepper spraying people? Well, you watch the whole video. You can watch the whole 3-minute video. I never saw any need to pepper spray anybody. Hands up in the air. They were all retreating back to the sidewalk. Nobody needed to be pepper sprayed at all. All right, well. Show anything else? Look at this. Look at this person getting maced right here. Just standing up. I'm standing up. Oh, I better mace you some more. The fuck? I hadn't seen that one. After she gets up. Like they even helped her to her feet. Did he help her up just to mace her? What are they doing? They're helping her up? Just to mace her again? Yeah, these people are sick. Yeah, dude, we love beating on women. It's like our favorite thing. I don't know. Elite force of high school dropouts. Okay. Stop interfering. Just comply, guys. Just let the government do whatever they want. Comply. Don't record. Don't use your First Amendment. Comply. Shut up, bitch. Everybody who says comply, you're a bitch too. Shut the fuck up. Everybody should always record the government, everything that they do. If police are out around you, if you are walking by and police are doing something, record them. Just record them. You're allowed to do that. You should do that. It's part of your First Amendment right. Do it. I don't know why you guys think bootlicking is so fun. All right. I wanted to show you this too. We showed this before, but now this is back in court. Let me see if I can find the original. It may be in here. If it's not in this clip, we'll go get the original. But this is a story now as we have a lawsuit. This happened I think in October. Diane Figueroa, and we covered this one when it happened. But another instance of ICE beating on American citizens for their own problems.
Everybody step back. Get back.
Just over a week ago, we reported on the Trump administration's immigration crackdown called Operation Metro Surge in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Thousands protested in the city this past weekend after a Border Patrol agent shot and killed Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old nurse at a VA hospital.
Oh, yeah, I did get vaccinated and boosted because I read medical information, and I'm not a fucking dipshit.
Did you get vaccinated?
Yes.
Why?
Because of overwhelming data.
Have you seen Joe Rogan? Have you even listened to Joe Rogan one single time? Do you not listen to RFK?
Yeah, I've seen the data on the COVID vaccine. Overwhelmingly, you should be vaccinated. There's no data that proves otherwise.
Yeah, but that proves everything I need to know.
Videos contradict the Department of Homeland Security's account of what happened.
Disgrace to law enforcement.
Despite local opposition, Operation Metro Surge continues. But Minneapolis is just the latest American city to become a target of DHS operations. In December, we spoke to Diane Figueroa, a U.S. citizen and paralegal who had an encounter with Border Patrol agents in Chicago during Operation Midway Blitz. This is her first on-camera interview.
It's a Friday, so I'm in a good mood, getting my son ready to go to school.
On October 10th last year, Figueroa had just dropped her son off at school and was on her way to work when she came across a chaotic scene. Border Patrol agents seen here in this silver SUV.
This woman was harassing the agents. Well, we're going to watch the video.
Were blocking oncoming traffic. Bystanders were shouting and filming them.
It didn't make sense to me because they weren't in ICE agents' uniform. They're not ICE agents, they're Border Patrol in Chicago. So I've never seen that before. I was confused because they were also masked. But of course I was driving and there was someone blocking me, so then I started beeping, trying to get them out the way.
Figueroa, driving this black car, told us that when the Border Patrol agent's vehicle moved forward, she saw an opportunity to pass.
I was in my lane and I moved forward after I noticed that there was a way to get out. And that's when he sideswipes me.
Who's at fault there?
I was in my lane and I moved forward after I noticed that there was a way to get out. And that's when he sideswipes me.
Who's at fault there? She has the right of way in her lane. Her, because she was driving forward in her own lane, and then the ICE agent did a illegal U-turn and swerved into her lane. No, she stayed in her lane. Do we need to rewind this? Let's. This is ICE agent here, blocking 2 lanes of traffic. Moves over to the far left lane. They're clearly in the far left lane here. This is what I see. Like, I don't get it. You guys are just dumb on purpose. I don't believe any of you.
A way to get out. And that's when he sideswipes me.
There, he was this way and he did a U-turn and he went into her lane while she's driving. There's not a single, there's no scenario where if the police came out for this, she would be charged. The white car would obviously be the blame here. I said far left, my bad. Good point. I was biased. Honking is passive aggressive.
Oh no, she was being passive aggressive. We better take her out of the car and beat the fuck out of her.
Shut up, bitch. You guys are such bitches. Anyways, obviously this was ICE's fault. I don't even know I'd waste my time arguing with you.
And it wasn't a huge accident either. It's not like it was a huge collision. It was a sideswipe. He accidentally hit me.
In your mind, this is one of these incidents you pull over, exchange information.
Yeah, like a regular car accident.
But Border Patrol agents exited their vehicle with guns drawn.
Oh, yeah, pull the guns. Yeah, obviously, get the guns on her.
Hey, watch out with that weapon! That weapon! Yo, watch out! What's wrong with you? You hit it! You hit her! Yo!
Did they identify themselves?
No, not at all.
You guys hit her! You guys hit her!
One agent you can hear in the video says, get out of the car. A clear order. Why didn't you?
Because who the is that? No, I'm not going to get out of the car.
Max, you don't have to get out of the car when Border Patrol tells you to get out of the car. They don't have any right to tell you to get out of the car.
What are you going to do to me and where are you taking me? How about you ask me for my ID first? How about you ask me if I'm a citizen? I don't even know what he assumed, but he didn't. He just took action and he hurt.
Hey guys, come over here. We can beat on a woman. Come on. Come on, this is what we've been waiting for all day. Let's beat on a woman.
Hurt me.
She's trying to go to work! Yo, what? Y'all some crazy. Y'all got no heart, for real. No heart. No heart.
Figueroa told us it was particularly painful because she had recently had kidney surgery.
How you guys gonna arrest her?
Follow their instructions. Just comply. The police are gods. We must follow the orders of ICE. Comply, comply, comply.
God, you guys are bitches. Every fucking one of you is such a fucking bitch. Toughen the fuck up. Know your rights. Know the law. Absolutely fucking not do you have to get out of the car when an ICE agent tries to detain you and you are a United States citizen.
Y'all some crazy. Y'all got no heart, for real. No heart.
If she stopped resisting the illegal interactions, it wouldn't be a problem. Just comply.
I've never been that scared in my life. All I could think of was my son. I needed to get back to my boy. Oh my God. See, like the physical pain, it went away eventually. I healed. Man, it's gonna be a long road for my emotional state to be okay.
Figueroa was arrested and put in a van with two men accused of being in the country illegally.
Arrested, you say? Where do they get that authority? Sorry, chat. Where do they get the authority to arrest her for a traffic accident? Where do they get the authority to detain and arrest a U.S. citizen for a traffic accident? Could you please cite the U.S. code that allows you to do that? I'll wait. While we're waiting, I'll try and find somebody said, I dare you to show the whole video. We'll show the whole video.
Did you ever tell them in this moment, I'm an American citizen?
Yes. I just said it like 1,000 times.
No response.
No response.
Figueroa said she was in custody for about 4 hours. She was released by the FBI and taken to the hospital by ambulance after telling an agent she had urinated blood and was concerned about damage to her kidneys. She was never charged with a crime.
Were you hurt physically during all of this?
Yes. Like an hour after the actual assault, I started to feel all the scrapes. My back had road rash. My feet were pulled. I have a torn left ACL, so that also was impacted in this whole thing.
In a statement to 60 Minutes, the Assistant Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Tricia McLaughlin, said Figueroa used her car to block agents and later hit a government vehicle.
Was she using her car to block agents? Was she using her car to block agents, MAGA? Nah, of course not.
McLaughlin said officers attempted to remove Figueroa from the vehicle and that she violently resisted, kicking two agents and causing injuries.
I don't believe I caused any injuries. I was the only one injured in this entire thing.
You know, the Department of Homeland Security, I'm sure you've seen this, says that you rammed the agent's vehicle. What do you say to that?
I'm not surprised, right? They've been lying about a lot. They are not taking accountability on anything. And I'm not surprised. Like, of course they're going to say something like that. But the video speaks for itself.
Figueroa provided 60 Minutes with a statement from her insurance company saying she was not the party primarily at fault for the damages to her car.
Some people will say that you were resisting arrest. Were you?
Hell yeah, I was. I'm not going to sit there and just let someone kidnap me, beat me up. Give me a reason. Tell me what I did wrong first. It's not normal. No one should have been treated like that. No one. Even if I did cause an accident. That is not how you handle it, not in America.
Her name is
We have rights.
Diane Figueroa, Dayanne.
December, Figueroa traveled to Washington, D.C. and testified in a hearing organized by Democratic members of the House and Senate.
What happened to me?
Yeah, she did resist arrest because it was an unlawful arrest. They can't arrest her. They have no legal authority to arrest her. So fuck yeah, she resisted. She's not a cucky little bitch like you guys.
If the police say, come with me, you lay down and you take it.
Yeah. She admitted to resisting arrest, which was unlawful. Again, anybody who says I'm wrong, cite the code that says ICE agents can arrest U.S. citizens. Cite it and explain what crime she committed that allows them to arrest her.
That day is not an arrest. It was an assault and a kidnapping of a U.S. citizen.
She told us she is speaking out to set an example for her son, Grayson.
I've been shielding him from a lot of this. I do want him to know, and eventually he's going to see.
Oh, okay. Hey, guys. They're citing 18 U.S.C. 111. It'll be fun. We'll pull it up in a minute.
All of this.
Why do you feel like it's important for him to know?
Because what happened wasn't okay, and he needs to know that people will fight back, and we have a voice, and it's important to be heard. Like, people have gotten killed in these situations, and I'm alive, and I could speak for them, and I could make sure that these things don't get swept under the rug. The more attention we bring to these things, the higher of a chance we have to stop it and to make a change.
Let's read 18 U.S.C. 111. Whoever forcibly assaults, resists, opposes, impedes, intimidates, or interferes with any person designated in Section 1114 of this title while engaged in or a current account of the performance of official duties, or forcibly assaults or intimidates any person who formerly served as a person. What were their official duties then? What were their official duties at this point? They got into a wreck that is their fault. But are there official duties now to handle traffic accidents? Is that their official duties? Whose official duty is it now that there is a traffic accident? Whose official duty is it to perform an investigation and arrest there? Not ICE. Not ICE. Right? She intentionally impeded them. I don't believe that that's true. Here's the full video, and it doesn't matter. ICE, she could be sitting in the road, and ICE could T-bone her at 100 miles an hour, and you guys would be like, she shouldn't have had her car there. But let's watch the full video from the start. You can see here, there's 2 lanes. ICE is illegally parked in this road. Now that they're in their car, they're no longer acting in their official capacity. They're not doing any enforcement activities here. And now you'll see as they pull forward, they will pull out of traffic, right? They'll pull into this area. That's when she starts going around. Now because she was blocked before. So now she's going around, and they just decided not to check and swerve back into traffic. That's clear. That's an easy one. She'll win that one. No, she wasn't. The only reason she's there to impede, she wasn't a protester, dipshit. She had dropped her kid off. She wasn't there to protest. She just was driving down this street. She came across this. She was blocked, so she started honking the horn because they were blocking the road. She wasn't a protester. They haven't even claimed she was a protester. She was just driving down the road lawfully. They're the ones that broke. Are they allowed to just drive however they want? They're allowed to violate traffic laws now? Law enforcement! Law enforcement! Nothing would have happened if the people weren't instructed to repeat anything that they do. No, Robin, don't be a fucking dipshit. Law enforcement doesn't get to do whatever the fuck they want. Law enforcement doesn't get to just like decide what the laws are. That was their fault. They should have stood around. Now they've also fled the scene. That's another crime. What they do with her car. ICE keeps leaving people's cars in the middle of the road. She clearly did a traffic violation. What traffic violation, Joe? Cite it, Joe. I'm going to start blocking people. Joe, cite the traffic violation, please. She's blocked. If you're driving down a road and there's a car that is parked blocking your way, and then that car moves out of the way, and you go around, and it swerves back, and it hits you, what traffic law did you violate there? You want to explain that to me? Running? She broke the running law. Guys, it was the running law. Feds cannot violate traffic violation while transporting as LEO. Shut the fuck up. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, she was behind them, and then they pulled out, and she went around. You gonna cite a law here? Or? That's a good point, Proxy Moxie. It doesn't matter if she committed a traffic violation. Good point. That would be local police's jurisdiction. They have no jurisdiction over that. This is why this is why all these Republicans now are coming out and saying, "Hey, we got to do something about ICE." We're going to talk more about that. People like Rand Paul. Here's Rand Paul. We now have Mike Lawler. Now we have Rand Paul. We've got Trey Gowdy. There's a reason they're all speaking out right now.
Going forward, that there will be some rules. There needs to be an independent investigation, for goodness sakes.
Shit, let me start. I forgot to read some super chats here. Flanker said, one concerning thing the right don't think about is setting precedent. If this is normalized, it can happen to them in the future. They don't get it. No, because they don't have object permanence. None of them have, they struggle with that. And so they don't see into the future. They only see right now. They don't see the implications of any of this stuff ever. It's whatever's happening right now. That's all they ever see. That's why they voted for Trump in the first place. Trump told them that they were being attacked by immigrants. They're like, oh, I am? I didn't even know. I must be being attacked by immigrants. And then they voted for him. He just scares them, and then they react emotionally and vote for a fucking idiot. So, no, they don't look into the future. They don't know. I don't know that they know how to do that. They know how to blame Joe Biden. They know how to look to the past and praise the dear leader. Lou said, relax, you might start enjoying it, Republicans. Chris said, it's 2026 exercising rights is un-American. That's right. I forgot about that, Chris. My bad. Tony said, they have to say alien. Oh, I did that one. They have to say aliens. Did I miss any of these other ones? I don't think I missed any. John said, here's my contribution for the show and my first time giving on Venmo. Hopefully the percentage is lower for contributions on this platform. It is. Thanks, John. That is a reminder. The places that take the least amount of our money when you donate are the pay apps. YouTube takes like 30%. TikTok takes like 60%. So if you're ever curious about that, the pay apps are much better. Here's Rand Paul.
With this, and we need to know going forward that there will be some rules. There needs to be an independent investigation, for goodness sakes. There has to be an investigation. If this happened on a police force, the officers, whether or not they committed anything wrong, would immediately be put on administrative leave, and there would be an investigation. But I don't know who trusts an investigation to be done by DHS when they're the ones calling this person an assassin, a would-be assassin, a domestic terrorist, saying he was assaulted the police. How can they be in charge of an independent investigation? Something's got to...
Uh-oh. Republicans are starting to say, we don't trust Kristi Noem. We don't trust ICE. We don't trust DHS. They can't be trusted to do their own investigations. Uh-oh. Microbial Joe, I'm going to respond to this at some now. Jesus fucking Christ, man. You see, Donald Trump didn't invent the vaccine. It's not his. You have to be a fucking moron to say that. Donald Trump didn't do anything but speed up the release. It's not his. It's not about trust. And by the way, I don't take vaccines based on a politician saying to take it. I looked at the data. I also had a really tough time with COVID before the vaccine. I got COVID. It floored me for 3 weeks. I was hospitalized twice. Members of my family struggled. Members of my family couldn't eat for like 2 years. For 2 years, they had a long haul COVID, and everything tasted like trash to them for 2 years. Stop it. I took the vaccine because I should take the vaccine. I didn't do it to help the pharmaceutical companies. Imagine that. Like, I'm gonna make my life less safe. I'm gonna make myself more susceptible to disease to stick it to the pharmaceutical companies. Cool, dude. Cool. Can you stop? You've been spamming that for like 45 minutes now. Is that a satisfactory answer for you? Are we good now? Says Big Pharma. I didn't get it from Big Pharma either. I read medical studies. This is going to show like perhaps how dumb you are, perhaps how poor your brain works. That when you think about like taking a vaccine, your only thought is, well, I'm not going to listen to the government and I'm not going to listen to Big Pharma. Well, either did we. It's not who I listened to either. I looked at the data. The data said it was safe. And now I've been right. I mean, early on the first dose, it was kind of a guess. We had some data, it was kind of a guess, but the data was good, but we're like, yeah, there could be problems. Now we're years down the road and it's overwhelming. You can go look at the data. Like everybody, the people who are vaccinated fare far better than those who are not vaccinated. In terms of recovery, in terms of hospitalization, in terms of death. There is no data set that says if like not to get vaccinated, not a single one. So yeah, I don't care. Like you're doing like a peer pressure thing right now, and that works on conservatives. Like all you guys had to do is call the vaccine gay, and like all the conservative men are like, I ain't gay, I ain't taking that. Vaccines are for pussies, and then you all just did it. You all got peer pressured into ignoring science, and the rest of us who like we're not that susceptible to peer pressure, we're like, no, thanks. Joe Rogan said that I should just take ivermectin instead. And now we know both ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine were not effective at all. 0% effective in treating COVID. And yet there are still Republicans out there who take ivermectin. If you turn on Fox News and you're watching ads, there'll be like these kits, like these medical kits. And it's like, make sure your family's safe. We've got Band-Aids, we've got bandages, and we've got ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. 2 things that have been proven not to be effective for COVID. And they sell them like hotcakes to Republicans because Republicans just got peer pressured into ignoring science. You do this with everything. You've been peer pressured into ignoring the science on climate change. Some of you still think like your Christian friends peer pressured you into thinking there's not dinosaurs. A lot of you get peer pressured into thinking the earth is flat. Stop being so susceptible to peer pressure and then recognize when it doesn't work on other people. I don't care. Like, it doesn't change my opinion that Big Pharma made a bunch of money on it. It doesn't. All that tells me is that Big Pharma charged way too much for it. Like, it's like, imagine getting cancer. And then you go in, you're like, the doctor's like, we got to do chemotherapy. And you're like, I ain't doing that. That's Big Pharma. I don't support Big Pharma. All right, I guess you can die. Yeah, just die then. Yeah, I'd rather die than give Big Pharma any money. You fight you can fight Big Pharma a lot better when you're alive. It's my belief. That's just my personal belief. It's hard to fight Big Pharma when you're dead. Back to Rand Paul.
Happen here.
So who else could conduct the investigation then? If it's not DHS, who's going to do it?
I think that's a good question. Within police bodies, most police are not elected. Some sheriffs are elected. A lot of sheriffs are. But there are independent police organizations that review these things. And look, I'm not one saying the officers are guilty of anything criminal. They, in all likelihood, were trying to do their job. But in all likelihood, this is going to be a tragedy. I mean, it is a tragedy. I mean, I think the guns were prematurely drawn and prematurely fired after a gun had already left the scene.
Uh-oh. The Republicans are starting to sound like us.
I think someone was shouting gun, 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 and they were worried that maybe the perpetrator had it when indeed they're one of their own agents had it. So it was a mistake. But if we don't say it was a mistake, if we say this is just jolly well and good, he was a terrorist, people aren't going to accept that. You want Minnesota to calm down? We have to show that there's a just and independent investigation here.
This flows in.
There we go. Sorry, that got derailed by a pharmaceutical conversation in the middle. I got my ADHD kicked in. Angie said Trump administration is raiding Georgia election office right now. What the fuck? No. You serious? Hold on. Like currently this is happening? Jesus Christ. It's not fascism. Just comply. You have it, Jen?
I just looked up an article on Reuters. There's 16 minutes ago, was saying that executing a search warrant.
See if I can find anything on this. It's Aaron Parnas.
Breaking news right now. The FBI is actively raiding an election office in Georgia right now related to the 2020 election per Fox News. This is a major escalation as the Trump administration targets elections right now. Donald Trump has long tried to say that he won Georgia, and remember all the fraud stuff that never materialized? Well, the FBI is serving a search warrant for a Georgia election office, likely trying to get voter rolls or other voter information. This is likely the beginning of what could be a larger scale effort to try to target state election boards across the country in an effort to try to influence the upcoming midterm elections or moving forward. I truly can't overstate how big of a deal this is. He is actively now using the levers of government to target state and local election offices. Now, we don't have further details as to exactly what they're going for, other than that it has to do with the 2020 election. So spread the word. I'll have more updates for you soon. So follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. Break.
It'll be interesting to see how they obtained this warrant. I mean, you're going to have, you should, well, take it back. You should have to have extraordinary amounts of evidence to violate states' rights like that. I wonder if we have the warrant. What would their justification be for that? We don't want to tell you guys about the pedophiles we're covering up for. Let's see if I can find anything. That all we have is Aaron Parnas. Jen, did you say you sent some? There was a Reuters. Did it say anything about the warrant by chance, Jen, in your article?
I haven't seen any justification for it yet. I'm searching for that right now to see if there's anything that has it. But the two articles, the U.S. News one and the Reuters, don't say anything about it.
Jesus. Here's the thing. You know what sucks too is no matter what they find, MAGA is going to say it was stolen. I don't know what you would even find at this point. Like in Georgia, in Arizona, in Pennsylvania, they've done recounts. They've done forensic investigations. Republicans have done this. This is what happens when you have an FBI and a DOJ who just literally does whatever Donald Trump tells you to do. The left fucked up big time. Patrick, give me your evidence. What's the evidence, Patrick, that the election was stolen? Why are you short? You do this same shit every time, Patrick. We were on the same page earlier today, but you do this shit every time. breaking news. Patrick doesn't know a single fucking detail, tells everybody, I know you're fucked. Zero details. Doesn't even know where they raided, what they're after. Patrick's already convinced that this was justified and that the left is fucked. Do you recognize that, Patrick? What you just did? You know zero details, and you have drawn a conclusion. Deport him like Larry. No, I like Patrick better than Larry. Patrick does admit when he's wrong. But I need you to acknowledge that, Patrick, that you don't know any details and you drew a conclusion there. Otherwise, you might get booted like Larry. All right, let's move on. If anything comes up, let us know in the chat. Send it to Jen.
Everything I've looked for is that. So I just found a Guardian article. This is the purpose and scope of the warrant were not immediately clear. Our investigation into this matter is ongoing. So there are no details that I can provide at this moment, a spokesperson said.
Okay. All right. Well, this is a good little segue here too. Lawrence O'Donnell did a great segment last night. If there wasn't a million psychotic things going on every single day by the Trump administration, it would probably be a bigger story that every time they go to court, they get caught lying. Judges keep calling them out for lying. And they are clearly not following the Constitution over and over again. They're in open defiance of court orders all the time. And you'll see a bunch of people in the chat here are going to say like, oh, the courts are overstepping their boundaries, which is a crazy thing to say. Like, we have a system that goes to certain courts first. So if a lower court issues a ruling and it's going to be appealed, it'll go to the next court up. That's how our system works. But what Republicans have been trained to do through peer pressure is reject any court decision that they don't like, even the Supreme Court decision. If there's a court decision that doesn't go their way, then these are just corrupt judges. So be prepared for MAGA in the chat to be insufferable here. But it's important to understand like what the federal government is actually saying in court and to compare that to what they say publicly. We know this for a fact. Like you go back and you look at Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Publicly, it was he is a MS-13 gang member. He is involved in human trafficking. He's involved in drug trafficking, and he is here illegally. That's what they say over and over. They send him down to CCOT. And then they go before a judge, and the judge is like, wait, what's your evidence that he's a MS-13 gang member? They're like, we don't have any. What about that he's trafficking humans? Oh, we don't have any. What about that he's trafficking drugs? We don't have any of that either. Okay, did you give him his due process? No, we did not. Okay, you have to bring him back now. And they just folded. They folded on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The same people that are arguing today argued that Abrego Garcia didn't deserve due process, wasn't guaranteed due process. The courts ruled against the Trump administration. The Trump administration eventually caved, accepting the court's ruling that they had violated his due process. And then they said, well, don't worry about it. We're going to charge him for being a gang member, a drug trafficker, and a human smuggler. And then they never did. They just dropped it. It never fucking happened. And most Republicans don't know that. They only know what they saw on TV. They only know Kristi Noem saying, oh, this guy's a trafficker. And that's where they took their opinion. So I love this by O'Donnell to compare like what's actually happening and then what they say in court when they actually are required to follow the law.
Brian Carter told a federal judge,
sorry, this is so quiet.
If this is not stopped right here, right now, I don't think anybody who is seriously looking at this problem can have much faith in how our republic is going to go in the future. Joining us now is Andrew Weissman, former FBI general counsel and an MS Now legal analyst. Andrew, stark terms for this point in the American legal process. What's your assessment of where we are tonight?
Thanks, Damien, for joining the Dollar Train.
Well, I have a legal assessment and I have a sort of policy assessment, and it's really hard to start with the legal, even though I know that's why I'm here. I think that I'm going to start with a policy point of view, which is everything that's happening in Minnesota is not about the sort of agents on the ground and the, in my view, completely lawless behavior that we're seeing, because none of that happens without the impunity that has been afforded them by the White House. They're carrying out sort of the literal marching orders of the White House. So we may see that Kristi Noem is sort of now bypassed, and that Agent Bovino is moved away. That, to me, to be very blunt, is lipstick on a pig. That doesn't make any difference whatsoever if the policy doesn't change. And on the legal front, there are challenges based on the 10th Amendment, the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment. You have to remember the district.
That's a lot of amendments. That's a lot of amendments. I don't know who that was. Some MAGA in the chat said this is exactly what Obama did to a T. You need to learn what words mean. There were not masked ICE agents in the street. There were no executions in the street. None of this actually happened under the Obama administration. The Obama administration just deported people. Most of them were within 100 miles of the border. They didn't storm cities like this. They weren't coming in with masked men and ripping people out of cars. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like you get peer pressured into saying dumb shit and believing shit that's not real.
Judges here are in a very, very conservative and somewhat erratic circuit, and we've already seen one injunction be overturned by the Eighth Circuit, just a few hours ago. And so I think the real answer here is going to be on the sort of the people being on the streets reacting to what.
Yeah, 58 people died under Obama in 8 years. We're on pace for 100 this year under Trump. So
what's going on and the pressure that politicians, the news agencies put on the administration in terms of what's happening.
As the local prosecutors look at this, these two homicides that we've seen there, knowing that they're on their own, that they are going to have to try to do this investigation on their own, federal government could be withholding evidence, they could have a years-long battle trying to get evidence from the federal government handed over to them. Isn't it a possibly messy legal future here?
That part is a messy legal future. They are doing all the right things. There is pending litigation to have a turnover of evidence, to have evidence preserved. I want to make sure people understand what the federal government has said today in court. That when federal agents go to Minneapolis, even if they commit a state crime, and not just any state crime, the state crime of murder, that the local police department has absolutely nothing to do about that. They have no jurisdiction, that the federal government can come in, commit murder, and that the locals do not have the ability to act. That is the statement of the Trump administration today in court. That cannot be the law, and I really do not think that will be the law. Final point.
Yeah, that's the point. Our federal government is arguing that federal agents can violate the law, state law, and it doesn't matter. They're arguing that they're going out there and they can commit crimes, whatever crimes. Like, just extend this. They could go in and they could commit any crime, and the state can't prosecute them. That's what their argument is. Do we think that's what do we think that's how the Constitution is set up? That federal agents can break any laws they want to in states? No, both can't break the laws, Chris. God damn it. This is what I'm telling you guys. I don't know why. Chris, I'm going to give you the same charge that I gave to Patrick. For once in your life, listen to what's being said and don't respond with a whataboutism. Okay? If you are here illegally, you have to follow the law. That means you get deported. If you're an ICE agent, you have to follow the law. We're good with both. That's not what, no. Qualified immunity you don't get qualified immunity when you break the law. What are you talking about? You can't violate state laws and get qualified immunity as a federal agent. That doesn't apply. It's pretty alarming what we're seeing here. The federal government in court is regularly arguing you can't do shit to us. Now we're raiding the Georgia election office. Again, don't want to jump to conclusions there because we don't know what the warrant is. Maybe there's a legitimate reason for that warrant. But Jesus Christ, they don't care about state laws. Trump yesterday, they asked him if he should have any guardrails at all. And he said, no, I shouldn't have guardrails. They get in the way. That's how our Constitution operates. Guardrails. You have checks and balances. He doesn't think that there should be guardrails, and he's removed a lot of guardrails just by hiring loyalists all around him. This is alarming stuff. This is fascist. This is fascism. This is what every dictator does. You put somebody in charge, and you put because the federal government has so much weight behind it. It has the military, it has the FBI, it has the CIA. It obviously has ICE, and we're expanding these departments. This is what happens when you give a madman control of the federal government, and when that madman surrounds themselves with loyalists. The checks are gone. Congress is refusing to act as a check against Donald Trump. They just sit on their hands. But that's what we're saying now, is that the federal government cannot be checked by the state. The federal government, federal agents can come in. They can murder people if they want to. They can steal your shit if they want to. They can break any law they want. And they'll be in charge of deciding whether or not they broke the law, not the state.
The statute of limitations on murder is forever. And so this is something that this may be justice delayed, but it may not be justice denied.
So glad you made the point about the statute of limitations. Andrew Weissman, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
There we go. Lisa said, ICE tried breaking into Ecuador's consulate. Yeah, I've got that. I'll show it in just a second. In fact, we can show it now. I think it's right here. Just out here destroying foreign policy by themselves. Yeah. Here it is.
Relax. Okay, relax. I get into. If you touch me, I will grab you. If you touch me, I will grab you. Okay. You can let it. Okay, but don't touch me. Okay. You can let it. You can let it. All right, let's go. You can let it. This is the council. This is the foreign government property. You can let it. Okay, close the door, right? Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, they tried to break into the Ecuador consulate today. You could hear them trying to break in. Look, they probably can't read. In all fairness, we've heard them speak. We know about their training. They probably can't read. Jay Dalio, would you explain to me what my double standard is? I don't like to have a double standard. Would you mind telling me what my double standard is? I would love to hear that, and I would love to correct it if I indeed have a double standard here. They tried to illegally immigrate. They're asking for directions. We got to break in to ask for those directions. Who sent me that the other day? I'm going to say this is unconfirmed. Who sent this to me? Canyon Sky. I forgot about this. I forgot to add it, but allegedly somebody was going through Reddit and they found this from 5 days ago. And I haven't verified this, saying that this image appeared 5 days ago, which was before the shooting of that SIG. I don't know. Did you tell me what the, you know what's a little bit frustrating too with Republicans is you guys don't actually know why anybody's protesting. The thread was old, not the photo. Did you check that out? Okay, thank you. That's what I was wondering. Like, I don't think that Republicans have any idea what the protests are about. The protests are simply about the brutality of ICE. That's why, again, you can point out that historically, under the first Trump administration, under the Biden administration, under the Obama administration, under Clinton, we didn't have protests like this. You all are just willing to believe what the right tells you about the left. That's what I wish you would do when you tuned in here. I wish when you tuned in, you would try and figure out what we believe instead of always taking whatever we say and assuming we believe the opposite. We already got that, Chris. You've already said that before. But these protests are about the way that this is being done, the cruelty in which this is being done. I honestly don't know anybody who is out there just saying, like, let's have open borders. I'm sure that those people exist. I know open borders lefties exist. There's open border libertarians, too. I don't happen to be an open borders person, so I'm sure they exist. But these protests are about the brutality. How do you not know what people are protesting? Diana, how would you find out why people are protesting? Wouldn't you go ask them? Have you asked anybody that's protesting? Microbial Joe, you meant glaring. Yeah, I thought they were protesting to keep a paycheck. Yeah, they're all paid. That's what they just tell you. They just tell you. And the reason that Trump and Republicans are telling you that we're protesting for open borders and because we're paid is because they don't want you to ask. They want to control that narrative. They want to tell you that they're not overstepping their bounds, they're doing nothing wrong, and that all these protests are just silly. I'm sorry. I'm watching every single day. I watch the government trample on Americans' rights. Every single day. I don't remember the last time that didn't happen. I showed the video from Zips yesterday. I thought this would be a uniform. But we have the video from Zips yesterday where ICE had raided Zips in the middle of the day. Nobody stopped them. Nobody did anything. Protesters showed up to protest ICE. They were on the side of the road, just holding signs, yelling. And as ICE drove by, they rolled down the window and pepper sprayed people. That's the federal government pepper spraying people for using their First Amendment right. And I thought for sure, I'm like, well, the MAGA in the chat, they'll get this. They'll understand this, that like, of course you can't assault people for saying things that you don't like. But nope, MAGA in the chat's like, good. Fuck them. Just people showing up. It doesn't, you can show up and protest anything. You can't assault people because you don't like what they're saying. See, there it is. Never stop spraying. Yeah, tread on me harder, baby. We didn't want any rights anyways. We just want the government to get revenge. And the thing is everything that you guys are so mad at is also bullshit. It's fake outrage. Trump has convinced you that like his political persecution is your political persecution. You've built an entire movement on everybody was unfair to Donald Trump, so we all get to be Nazis now. And there's no difference. When I say people are protesting and you say spray them, you're not different than the Nazis. You want people physically harmed, arrested, detained, have their rights taken away from them because they are protesting something that you disagree with. That's why we call you Nazis every day. Because every day you come in here, and if this doesn't apply to you, by the way, if you're somebody that's like, I don't think that protesters on the side of the road should be sprayed by ICE, then I'm not talking about you. You're not the Nazi. But I would ask you, why don't you add a little distance between you and the Nazis in your party? Because it's hard to tell sometimes. You do have a lot of Nazis. I don't know how many there are, but it doesn't seem to be something that you guys are willing to distance yourselves from. There's no time. If I was around Nazis and they were saying things similar to me, I would distance myself from them. I've had to do that with Nick Fuentes. Me and Nick Fuentes kept aligning when it came to Palestine. And I did. I'm like, it's like he's saying what I'm saying, but like for different reasons. I'm saying free Palestine because I don't think that people should live in a outdoor prison. I don't think that they should have to worry about being in a hospital and having it bombed. And Nick was like, well, I'm a free Palestine because fuck the Jews. It was different. I distanced myself from that. I'm like, I don't want to be associated with Nazis. For some reason, you guys don't distance yourself from the Nazis very well. In fact, you just bring them on and you interview them. Like, oh, actually, this Nazi is a little bit palatable. He seems just like me. Huh. Why do the Nazis seem just like you? How did that happen? How did their messaging become exactly the same as your messaging? Huh. I think they're just like more proud of being Nazis. They're more aware that they're Nazis. All right, moving on. What is this? This is a weird headline I have here. Hold on one second. I'll skip that one. There. Let's get. I want to talk about some financial stuff, some economic stuff. This is Ken Griffin from the Citadel. We showed you the video yesterday, but the value of the dollar is plummeting, and it's plummeting compared to all of our competitors. Like we're falling compared to the euro, to the Canadian dollar, to the Japanese yen. I don't remember which all we showed yesterday, but the dollar is dying right now, and that's a problem. And this is again Ken Griffin. He's from the Citadel. This was at the World Economic Forum. But listen to the warning that he's giving here. And I just want to be clear. This isn't as complicated to figure out as you might think it is. What we're doing right now, our economy is a casino. We've currently placed a bet on AI, and if our AI bet fails, our entire economy is going to collapse. It's like the what did they say? If you take out the 5 AI companies that are keeping our stock market up, that the stock market would actually be down. We have made a massive bet on AI without really understanding whether or not that's going to pay off. And there are people sounding the alarm. It's not just me. Again, here's Mr. Griffin from the Citadel.
The area of recklessness is the spending of governments around the world, who are all, with little exception, all spending well beyond their means. That's the recklessness of this moment in history. This is not a parallel to the 1920s in terms of the recklessness of the private capital markets. It's a story of the recklessness of government spending. Within the private sector, there's a huge question as to where AI will take us. And I was carefully taking notes and listening to what Larry has to say, or to what Madame Lagarde has.
I was too. And they don't have good answers. I don't think that anybody has given a solid answer as to why we are investing this much into AI, why we're risking our entire economy on AI. Donald Trump certainly doesn't understand this, but the people around him with a lot of money, I guess he's just trusting them. But I'm very concerned about this bet that we've made.
Say, because this is one of the big issues of our moment. Will AI create the productivity acceleration that is honestly just hoped for in Washington and in the halls of government around the world as a way to overcome the profligate spending that we're currently engaged in? Like the world needs a savior.
$1 trillion every 100 days, I think, is what they said. That's what we're doing now. We're going in debt. Somebody can fact check me on that. I think it was like 900 billion every 100 days is how much we're accelerating the debt. So we're borrowing like motherfuckers against this. And the payoff on AI is going to have to be huge. In order to recoup all this money that we're investing, the payoff has to be huge here, and I can't figure out what the payoff's going to be. Yeah, thanks, Last Cranberry. Like, what is the end goal? I'm listening to these AI people. I'm listening to Sam Altman. Like, what is the end goal? How is this going to make all of us wealthier? How is this going to generate enough revenue to pay back our debts? I don't have a good answer. Do any of you guys have an answer?
And the hope is that AI is the savior that we need for productivity. And the challenge with this is it may or may not be. We just don't know.
What are you talking about? Well,
yet.
We don't know. I mean, I talk every day about the countless billions being wasted on illegals. I'm looking at all the money that we're wasting on ICE right now. I talk about that every day. Yeah, we're wasting a ton of money on illegal immigration, all to give ourselves a net negative. People who are here in this country illegally are a net positive to our GDP. They're a net positive economically. And we could make it even more of a net positive if we gave them amnesty and allowed them to pay taxes, but we don't. So instead, we're going to turn it into a net negative. And in order to take our net positive to a net negative, we're going to spend hundreds of billions of dollars to do it. So we're investing a bunch of money in ICE so that we can lose revenue. It's fucking brilliant. Really fucking brilliant. I don't like people that are here illegally that are working because of the conditions that they have to work under, and because it allows wages to stay low. And I do think that can drive. There's data that says it slightly can drive down wages for lower income individuals. That's true. It's not significant. It's like less than 1%. But I would like people who are here that are working illegally to just be able to work. And then we would have a bunch more revenue coming into our coffers. But instead, we are spending hundreds of billions of dollars to void our coffers. It makes absolutely no fiscal sense. And that's why they never talk about that. That's why they only talk about they're bringing their murderers, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing their criminals. Go look at any analysis. Just if any of you have AI, Google, whatever, Google right now. Are illegal immigrants a net positive or negative economically? And you're all going to get the same answer, that it's a net positive. And then you're going to be like, I don't trust Google. It's woke. You could do all this analysis on your own. But you guys have like this ideology that says if you're here illegally, we just have to get you out. We're not going to worry about what makes the most sense. We just want to get these people the fuck out. So yeah, I do talk about the billions of dollars we waste on illegal immigration. Don't be one side. I'm not one-sided. I'm telling you the truth. And your side lies all the fucking time. So if I'm telling the truth and you're a Republican, you're going to think I'm on the opposite side a lot. Because virtually everything your leaders tell you are just lies. Why are you asking me to not be biased? Just correct my information. I'm either right or I'm wrong. It doesn't matter what my bias is. I'm right or I'm wrong. If anybody wants to provide me data that says otherwise, feel free. We have a Discord line open. You guys can come up anytime. You just message JenDub1. It's the same as the Venmo username. You can message her. You can come up and you can explain this. I'll pull up your sources for you. We'll show them on the screen. Every day I give this invitation and nobody ever comes up. Which is a reminder, we are crowdfunded. There's Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal, as well as Super Chats. If you help us knock out our goal every day, that would be greatly appreciated. We do rely on the generosity of our viewers to keep going, as PayPal and Twitch don't give us really any ad revenue. And TikTok, if we're still on TikTok, thanks for not paying us for anything. Thanks for not paying us for views. Who wants to get paid for their labor anyways? Appreciate you. Okay. Let's move on to elections. Trump went to Iowa yesterday, and it was weird. It's always weird. Trump's weird. But before we jump into that, I just want to talk about the state of Iowa. I want you to give you a glimpse as to what state Trump is walking into, and how things are on the ground. And let's see if his messaging seems like it's going to be a winning message.
Let me talk a little about Iowa, because I don't think they're going to say it's booming. First of all, Steve, there was 6 special election races in 2025. Democrats won 5, including flipping 3 seats.
That's not good for you guys, right? If everything's going so well for Trump, if this is working out, then how did Democrats flip 3 seats in Iowa, deep red Iowa? Not good, right? He'll tell you why.
Iowa had slower GDP than most of the nation. I think it was ranked 49th. There, 2/3 of Iowans' healthcare costs are rising. 1/8 of Iowa needs to go to food pantries for food due to food insecurity.
1/8 in the richest country in the world, in the red state of Iowa, 1/8 of the population rely on food pantries to eat. In Donald Trump's America. Now keep saying it. Keep saying it, Tim Blue. Keep shaming people for needing assistance right now. That'll work. That's a good idea. Shame people for needing assistance. 1/8 of the population relies on food banks. No, they didn't vote blue. They voted red, and then Donald Trump fucked it up, and now they're voting blue. Why do you think they're voting blue? Because the people that they're voting for say, you know what we're going to do? We recognize wealth inequality is out of control. We're going to provide more services. Perhaps we're going to protect your wages a little bit more. And those that are making all of the money and not trickling it down, we're going to tax them to pay for these services. And when you're relying on a food bank, even though you're working full time, what else are you going to do? You're going to keep voting for Republicans? Yeah, I'll just keep doing this. This seems like it's going well. I'll vote for Republicans. That's why 3 seats have already flipped and 5 of the 6 elections have gone blue. It's simple. Jackie said, I heard there's a budget for pro-ICE influencers. I heard that too. Facts. Good to see you, buddy. Said states' rights for me, but not for thee. Back to Iowa.
MidAmerica Energy, Iowa's largest utility, thinks that already electricity and natural gas prices are raising. They're predicting another 10 to 15% this year.
So they already can't afford to live. Their 2/3 of them are going to have their health insurance costs go up, and now their energy costs going up by 15% too. Trump, if you remember, Trump on day one said, in a year from now, next January, everybody's energy bills will be cut in half. I got made fun of a couple weeks ago by my friend that's in politics. That when I was a Republican, he worked with me over there. He's more independent now. And I said, if polling is correct, Iowa's going blue and Nebraska's going blue. And he laughed, and we'll see. A lot can change between now and the midterms. But if you take polling today, and if you take the elections that have happened since 2025, Iowa's going to be a blue state. Keep in mind that Joni Ernst, the senator there, when somebody said, hey, you're cutting our Medicare, like people are going to die when you cut Medicare, Joni Ernst shouted back, everybody's going to die. Not great. They don't trust the Republicans there anymore.
That's not including 200,000 Iowan families cannot even afford their electricity bills right now and are past due. So Iowans, yes, that's Trump country, but now let's add agriculture, where they don't want to bail out. They actually just want to be able to sell their soybeans and have their agriculture, but tariffs for them have been a disaster in the farmland. Disaster. That's why Trump has to bail them out. So these hardworking Americans that voted for President Trump, they're not looking for their $12 billion. They're just looking to go back to work and be able to afford their everyday life. And right now, the numbers don't lie.
Okay. Steve.
Now, I do think that if you're a Democrat in Iowa and you're running and you try and run as a moderate Democrat, it's a bad idea and you're probably going to lose because there's not a lot of like daylight between MAGA and moderate Democrats. The only difference is MAGA is more cruel. But policy-wise, like what have the moderate Democrats done to lower energy prices? What have the moderate Democrats been able to do to lower healthcare prices? Nothing. So my advice to anybody running in Iowa is run as a fucking progressive. Run with a real plan. Run on taxing the rich. Run on universal healthcare. Run on progressive tax policies. That's how you're going to win. But if you just run and be like, I'm not Trump, maybe you'll win. But if you run as a progressive, it's going to go blue. That's why they went for Obama. Obama wound up being like fairly moderate, but when he ran as a true progressive. And Iowans saw that, and they'll see it again. This is you can't $1.97, $2 gas price them out of this. Nobody gives a fuck about gas prices and the border being closed when they can't pay their bills. You have to give them a real solution. Like, how are you going to, what are you going to do to pay your bills? And we'll see what Iowans do. We'll see what the people running do. But I want to show you like Trump's pitch to them. And it is incredibly hollow, and it is so on brand for Trump because Trump went to Iowa where the people were struggling and wanted answers, and he just told them how great he was. We'll get to that. Here's an Iowa voter being asked about their vote for Donald Trump. They voted for Trump the first time. Let's see if they're going to vote for Trump again here.
He needs to get his act together, and our representatives here in Iowa
need to stop following his lead. I'm not voting Republican again.
Did you ever vote for him?
First time around, and he did a good job, but then he got stupid.
What does that mean?
Means that he just changed. It's all about him. He thinks he's God, and he's gonna take over the world. He needs to get.
Next, Donald Trump went and he spoke in front of Iowans. He had a. Is this the? Wait, hold on. Is this the right one? Let me skip. Actually, let me go to this one first. He went to like a. I don't remember what kind of building this was. I don't know if it's a restaurant or something, but he went and we're gonna have to watch this on Fox News, so there's gonna be commercials. Sorry about that. But he went and he had a little sit down with what's his stupid face, Will Cain. So before he went out on stage and did the same speech that we've heard him give a trillion times, he sat down with Will Cain. And this stuff works when people feel like they're doing okay. But this doesn't work when people are struggling. What Trump is up against right now is the same thing that Joe Biden was up against. Joe Biden could go out and tell people all day long, inflation was at 9%, now it's at 3%. We fixed it. Like we have the CHIPS and Science Act. We've passed all these things. Like wages are now recovering, jobs are recovering. But the people didn't feel it. The people were still struggling to pay their bills. So it didn't matter. Like it didn't matter how much Joe Biden bragged. And Trump's up against that too. People won't just continue to believe bullshit when their own reality says otherwise. And Trump's going to have to sell these people on, hey, I know things are going really, really bad for you, but here's my plan. And I don't think he comes up with very good answers here. Here he is with Will Cain. I think I might have to jump forward a little bit.
Back to the Will Cain Show live from Iowa, and now we're here. We're here with President Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, great to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing this.
Well, you know, you do have great ratings.
Well,
okay?
thank you.
We check the ratings, but even if you had lousy ratings, I would do your show. You are terrific. You've been a terrific guy.
I anticipate they should do very well today with this type of guest today here on the Will Cain.
Oh, yeah, that's what everybody cares about. Josh said, on AI, imagine a computer that could hack any networked computer or system instantly and is hack-proof. That'd be cool. I don't know how that fixes our investment, but I see what you're saying there. Kelly said, have you talked about ICE trying to barge into the consulate? Also, you're the best. Yeah, we just covered that a few minutes ago. I don't know when you sent that.
Show. Welcome back to the campaign trail. Welcome back to Iowa. How does it feel?
Well, I love Iowa. We've won it 3 times conclusively. There wasn't like any late night voting or anything. We just won it right at the beginning. The doors closed and they said Trump won. And I love the people. You know, I just get along with the people.
I was watching the other room. You look back in your element. You're back with the people. What do you like better? Do you like this, standing on the stage at a rally, or do you like making a deal, maybe for Greenland?
I think I like maybe the rallies better.
Yeah, we know. We know. I like it when the people are cheerleading me saying dumb shit. When I'm negotiating, people push back, and I'm not smart enough to figure it out.
They're fun, but we're making a lot of good deals. We've made record-setting deals. We have $18 trillion coming into the country. That's why they're building auto plants, AI. They're building everything. With thousands of businesses are being built all over the country. And you're going to have a beautiful, very positive explosion sometime during the year when these things start opening up. But there's never been no country has done what we've done.
I mean, manufacturing jobs are down. Job growth is flatlined. We had multiple negative months in the last quarter of last year. Again, most people aren't going to fact check this. He's lying, obviously. It's what he does. But do you think these people give a fuck? If you're there, explain to them how it's going to benefit them. You can't just keep saying like, oh, there's going to be all these jobs coming in. Where?
That explosion, that anticipated economic explosion, that's going to be important because you also need to do something that someone has done very rarely. You acknowledged this a couple of days ago with Maria Bartiromo, and that is for the president in power to win the midterms. I think it's been only twice since 1938 that the sitting president, the president in power, has won the midterms. Are you concerned?
Well, nobody can explain why. You know, even when we've had an amazing year, there's been a record-setting year in every way, and nobody can explain. Even presidents, whether it's Republican or Democrat, when they win, it doesn't make any difference. They seem to lose the midterm. So that's the only thing I worry about. I said, why? There's some psychological factor out there.
What do you think that is?
But I think it's like 2 in more than 50 years. Well, I don't know. Maybe they want to put up a guard fence. Maybe you just don't know. It doesn't make sense. Even if a president did well, they seem to lose the midterms. But hopefully we're going to change that around. We're doing great. We have the best polling numbers we've ever had.
He's underwater in every poll. But again, these people don't care about that. When you're struggling, they don't care what your polls are. He's not an everyman. He's not for you. Listen to this. He's sitting in front of a state that is struggling, and all he can talk about is how great he is, how great his numbers are. How about these ratings? How about the amount of money we took in taxes?
We have the best numbers in the country, lowest crime numbers in the history of our country. You know, Minnesota's in the news a lot, but what they don't say is that Minnesota has low numbers because of the fact that we took thousands of hardened criminals out of Minnesota. So they had good crime numbers, believe it or not. And that's all working out. You know, we have Tom Homan there now. We put him in there. He's great.
Look at the people I hate how you can't pause this and it's but the people just kind of looking away. They're not impressed.
They met
They're
with
just
the governor, the mayor, everybody else. And
looking away, straight down.
But I will tell you, you look at the numbers, they're doing better than they've done in many years because we took thousands of criminals out of Minnesota. You look at Washington, D.C., it was a very dangerous place a year and a half ago. Now it's as safe as you can get. You can walk your family down the middle of the street. Nothing's going to happen. You know, it's...
It was at all-time lows. Crime in D.C. was at all-time lows before Trump took office, and it still is.
We got rid of over 2,000 hardened criminals, many of them let in through the open border policy of Sleepy Joe Biden. It was not a good... That was not a good policy, Will.
I want to come back to Minnesota in just one moment. But
look at the crowd reaction. Nothing from them. This is not going well. Trump's not going to be able to speak to everyday Americans in this election. He doesn't know how.
To those guardrails, I'd imagine you do not feel like you need guardrails in this moment. You talk about the investment.
No, I don't need guardrails. I don't want guardrails. Guardrails would hurt us because, you know, we're free enterprise people. The people in this room, the people.
That's what fascists say. I don't need guardrails, he says. Rules don't apply.
People of Iowa are free enterprise. That's why we won it so big 3 times in a row.
I would have to imagine that guardrails would be an understatement of what would happen should you lose the House or the Senate. There's been talk of impeachment. You've been through this before.
Yeah.
You've been through it multiple times.
I'm a professional.
What will happen?
He got impeached twice. He's a professional. One of the worst presidents of all time. He's the only one to get impeached twice. Imagine bragging about that.
What will happen if Democrats take the House?
They'll probably try and impeach me. They'll say he went to Iowa and he spoke unfairly to people and he's not supposed to do that. Let's impeach him, okay? And the people in Iowa would say, how did he get impeached? He just did an interview with Will, who has very good ratings, okay? But they just did an interview with Will. Now, they'll find something. There'll be something... I made the wrong...
I've said this before, but just every time I see people laughing at politicians when what they say isn't funny, I'm just reminded of my Mormon upbringing, where anytime any of our leaders showed any type of humanity or tried to crack a joke, everybody just politely laughed. Like if I said that, if you said that in a room, nobody would laugh, but because Trump said it and it's star power, they laughed. It was just a weird thing that he said.
Turn at an exit and let's impeach him. No, they did that before. They impeached me on a perfect phone call.
Yeah.
They impeached me twice. And by the way, I won the impeachments very easily and quickly.
Huh? He got impeached twice. He didn't win. He got impeached twice. He wasn't removed. And the second time, they only didn't remove him because he had already lost the election. They had the votes. The Republicans were like, we would vote to remove him, but like Romney said it. I think Lindsey Graham said it. They're like, we're not going to because he's already removed. So it doesn't make any sense. It would just be overkill at this point. But yeah, he was impeached twice. He didn't win either of those times. He got impeached twice.
But they impeach. They're very nasty people. You know, they have bad policy. Really bad, but they do 2 things. They stick together. Not stupid. Some are, because, you know, that's true with everything, right?
Listen, as somebody who votes Democrat, The one thing we're maybe the worst at is sticking together. We fucking suck at sticking together. Democrats tend to eat their own. We do police morality a little bit. We tone police a lot. We're a bit too unforgiving at times for people who make mistakes. The criticism I would have of Democrats a lot is that they do not stick together. Republicans are great at sticking together. They shut down the government for basically for 6 months so that we wouldn't get the Epstein files. They all went home. They collectively took a vacation to protect Donald Trump from releasing the Epstein files. And then now that they've passed it, they're not going to make him release the Epstein files. They are going to bring in everybody in the world to testify except for Pam Bondi. They're not going to hold her in contempt. The person blocking the files from being released, not going to be held in contempt. Bill Clinton, held in contempt. But again, doesn't matter to any of these people. They don't care about party politics right now. The people of Iowa need to hear his plan to fix this shit.
But they stick together, but they have really bad policy. Men and women's sport.
Guys, somebody talked to Dave. Dave said, attempted impeached 2 times. If he was impeached, he couldn't run or be elected president. David, what red state did you go to school at? Real quick, David. Was it Arkansas? I'm going to guess Arkansas. What red state was it, David? Who didn't teach you about the government? If I get this right, that's impressive. David, which red state did you go to school in? He's going to lie and say California. Marty said, FBI executed a search warrant. Oh, I got that one. Had some from Ash over here, too. Ash said, not the greatest theory, but I think the right likes that we keep saying the 2020 election wasn't stolen so they can fuck with future elections and voter registrations and then call us dramatic for saying he's attempting to cheat. Haven't said a joke in a while. What's blue but smells like red paint? Blue paint. I did say Clinton should be in front of Congress. I'm fine with Clinton being in front of Congress. I'm just wondering why Republicans aren't bringing Pam Bondi in front of Congress and holding her in contempt. I see how I can do both. Thank you for pointing that out, though, Abe, that I do want Clinton to testify. I just think it's silly that they won't bring the person who's actually responsible for not releasing the Epstein files. Did we get an answer from Dave there? Did your mom teach you that? I hope it wasn't I hope it wasn't homeschooled. I'd like to think you had a good mother who taught you things.
It's transgender for everybody.
Transgender for everybody. We're back.
So bad. They're horrible to the farmers. And by the way, I just gave the farmers $12 billion because they were treated unfairly.
Now fuck you, Trent. I would kill Trump at golf. That's crazy. Now you've gone too far. I would dominate Trump at golf. I would. Go look at my handicap. If I don't like to dox myself, but if you know my name, if by chance you know my name and you've Googled me, most of my, I don't have much of an online presence. I deleted my social media years ago before I started doing this. But if there is an online presence of me, it'll be me of holding golf trophies. It's the one, for sure I would beat Trump at golf. For sure. We're not even in the same league. He's never the best he ever was. I'm miles ahead of him.
We're taking in a fortune with tariffs. And I wrote him a little check about 2 weeks ago for $12 billion. Anybody in this room get any of it yet? Yes, yeah. A lot of people. It's a lot.
Hold on.
Money. And you know what? You
a lot of people.
But we're taking in a fortune with tariffs. And I wrote him a little check about 2 weeks ago for $12 billion. Anybody in this room get any of it yet? Yes.
One guy clapped. That's in camera. And Trump I think this is the part where Trump accidentally tells the truth.
Yeah, a lot of people. It's a lot of money. And you know what? You deserved it. But
did you notice how all of the claps were coming from one side of the room? That's his staff. It's not on this one. Later on, he references that it's his staff that's over there. He even points at him. He's like, oh, those are my people. No Iowans clapped for that. One guy, and the rest was his staff.
We're taking in so much money from the tariffs that we can do that.
I want to talk about the point of view from some of these farmers, some of these people in this room a little bit later, but now I want to take you up on your invitation to talk about Minnesota. Listen, the entire country
That's what
is
Iowans
talking
need to
about
hear.
What happened this past weekend in Minnesota. You've already spoken about it. Everyone watching has seen the video. Everyone has an opinion. I'm curious what you thought when you first saw that video.
Well, I think the whole thing is terrible. I don't like the fact that he was carrying a gun that was fully loaded, and he had 2 magazines with him, and it's pretty unusual. But
2A, anybody? Where's my 2A absolutists? Where we at? I don't like that he was carrying a gun.
nobody knows when they saw the gun, how they saw the gun, everything else. Bottom line, it was terrible. Both of them were terrible. The other was terrible, too. And I'm not sure about his parents, but I know her parents were big Trump fans. Makes me feel bad anyway. But, I mean, I guess you could say even worse. They were tremendous Trump people, Trump fans.
I gotta give him credit. Like, sometimes he does just tell the truth, and it's gross. I mean, I felt bad, but then when I found out they liked me, then I really felt bad. I just feel more bad for people if they like me.
Fans, and you know, the daughter was, she was, I don't know if you could say radicalized, maybe not. I don't know, but I hate to see it. I hate to see that.
Ooh, did he walk that back? Boy, is he walking that back. She was a radical, I think was called a domestic terrorist. Woo, is he backstepping? Where we at? Where's my MAGA in the chat who's been telling me she's a domestic terrorist all this time? Boy, Trump's walking that one back, isn't he? Yeah, the NRA called. They're like, you better shut the fuck up, man. Okay.
You bring up the term radicalized. What do you think is happening? You see these people in these videos, they feel very emboldened to step in and interfere with law enforcement. Yeah. I'm not talking about
well, I think we've exposed like 12 lies, and somebody in the chat's like, we've never encountered somebody this brutally honest. That's why we love him. No, he's honest about his feelings, but not about facts. I don't really give a fuck about his feelings, honestly.
Protest, holding signs. I'm talking about people physically interfering with immigration enforcement. Why? Why do they feel so emboldened?
You know, you have to go throughout the whole country. You know, we have done so much work throughout the whole country. We don't have any problem. The only one we have is Minnesota. We're in a lot of different places. New Orleans, we're in the governor of Louisiana called they have a big problem in New Orleans. And we went there. We've cut the crime by 67% in 4 weeks. It'll be down to practically nothing soon. Washington, D.C., we don't have problems. Like, you know, right. We've cut it down from a lot. It was very bad. It was terrible. People go to Washington to look at the Lincoln Monument, and they end up getting whacked or whatever, killed in some cases. Numerous killings. That's a beautiful, safe place.
All right, just checked. Live fact check. Is crime down 67% in New Orleans in the last, I did 6 weeks. I think he might have said 4. There's no evidence that overall crime in New Orleans has dropped in the last 6 weeks. Violent crime has declined for 3 straight years, with 2025 murders down 3% from 2024 and 55% from 2022. Armed robberies down 28% from 2024, down 70% from 2022, and homicides at a 50-year low. These are annual figures, not short-term 6-week drops. A 67% reduction appears in contexts like gun arrests year-to-date in early 2025, 32 versus 98 the prior year, or armed robbery declines for 2022, but not overall crime or recent 6 weeks. So, fact check, shocker. He's so honest. That's why we love him. Fact check him. Don't fact check him.
Now, Memphis, Tennessee, one of the worst in the whole country, and now it's got very little crime.
But it's gone very differently in Minneapolis.
Well, it has. It's the only place.
And now the message is out that Tom Homan is in.
Yeah.
Commander Bovino is supposedly leaving Minneapolis along with some CBP agents. Is this a pullback?
I don't think it's a pullback. It's a little bit of a change.
Somebody mute Napier family. Shut the fuck up about, like, dude, if you want to go, just go beat off to some trans porn and you can come back at us. We'll give you 5 minutes. If you want to obsess about trans people, just go fire one off, pal. We'll give you a 5-minute mute. You can come back then. But Jesus fucking Christ, get it together.
Everybody in this room that has a business, you know, you make little changes. You know, Bovino's very good, but he's a pretty out there kind of a guy. And in some cases, that's good. Maybe it wasn't good here. But you have to understand, when I watch some of the people that I've been watching over the last few weeks, these are paid insurrectionists. These are paid agitators. These people aren't normal, like, oh, gee, that, you know, they're incensed about anything. How do you get incensed when you go into a state and you're taking criminals out? You're taking monsters out.
There's an interesting report that just came out, and I'll cover it on the show tomorrow. But these numbers that they're citing in Minneapolis is really interesting. They keep a lot of those pictures that Trump held up the other day of these violent criminals that they've tracked down. I think something like 68 of them, there was like 100 that they listed. 68 of them had been arrested by Minneapolis police or Minnesota police. And what these violent criminals were is they had already been arrested, tried, convicted, and they were in detention. But because their status it was either in question, and now because they've committed a crime, they are now deportable, or because they were deportable beforehand, they turned those people over to DHS, and DHS is using those numbers to say, look what we did. But I think it's 68 out of the 100 that they checked were already in custody by Minnesota police. I'll get the exact numbers tomorrow, so don't quote me on that. I'll have it on the show. But it's interesting now, like, and somebody said earlier when I brought up the 67% drop, they're like, oh, he probably has different numbers than you do. Look, I've covered Trump long enough. I've covered him long enough. He makes up his numbers every fucking time. And what you are doing when you say, like, I'm just going to accept his numbers because he probably has numbers we don't have, it's just you saying, like, I don't really give a fuck. I don't care what he says. I don't care what he does. I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to believe what he says now, and I won't fact check it later because it won't matter later. But right now, I've got to suck this dude's dick because there's a bunch of people in here who are criticizing him, and that makes me uncomfortable. So I'm going to open my mouth, I'm going to check my gag reflex, and I'm going to suck this guy's dick without any information.
Murders, you know, we had 11,800.
Oh, sorry. Amy said in the state of Minnesota, January saw 3 murders, 2 caused by ICE. Not great. So that sounds like they've increased murders. That sounds like an increase in murders to me.
188 murderers let into our country by other countries, by Biden with his open border stupid policy. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You talk about bad policy. Open borders where people were coming, so the whole world,
Thank you, Corey.
Congo, Venezuela, all over the world, they're letting people in from their prisons and they're feeding them into the United States. And
also not true. None of that's true. There's zero evidence that they are emptying prisons and putting them into the United States. This has been debunked thousands of times. It's crazy that he still is able to lie to you guys. The people in Iowa, look though.
They're murderers.
They're all just kind of looking. They're lost. They're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Betsy said, great show, release the files, fuck Trump.
Everything else you can think of, every bad name you can think of, and they let them in by the millions. We closed the border. You know, we have nobody coming into our country anymore. Literally.
It just shows how hard it is to clean up, even after you close it. It shows the.
Good job cutting him off, because he was about to say literally nobody is coming into this country, which is not true. I think it's down to like 68,000 border crossings, which isn't nobody. Still people coming into this country.
Price that we paid under Joe Biden.
It's the hardest thing when you think of it. You know, inflation we've solved. It's done. We have it good. Where prices are coming way down. They were just saying in Iowa.
You really want to do this, Don? You didn't learn from Joe Biden? You didn't learn from Harris? They know that their prices aren't down. They know that inflation is still at 3%. It's nowhere near where the Fed wants it at 2%. It's exactly where it was when he took over. He hasn't dropped inflation. Prices aren't coming down. And these people in Iowa know it. It's one thing to say this like in front of cameras when maybe people aren't watching, but you're sitting with Iowans who know that their prices aren't coming down. They're in a restaurant whose prices almost certainly have gone up. And he's going to tell them, like, actually, guys, don't believe your lying eyes. Believe me, prices are down. And this is what happens when you're a billionaire and you don't live in reality. This guy works at the Wire. They bring him his food every day. He's not worried about the cost. He does have to pay for it. He's not worried. Then he goes to Mar-a-Lago. They have all these fancy dinners every night. He has no fucking clue. I would guess that Donald Trump in his life has never been to a grocery store. This type of out of touch while people are struggling, Iowa specifically is struggling, and it's specifically struggling because of policies that he implemented, the tariffs that have decimated farmers. Good luck. Good luck in the Midwest. Good luck with farmers. I promise you they're not more loyal to Donald Trump than they are to their own family and to their own financial well-being. I promise they don't hate immigrants more than they like eating. They're going to want to eat. You can't lie to people like this in front of their faces. And you can see there is no energy from this audience. They are all looking away uncomfortably.
The fuel is $195. Did you hear that? Somebody said $185, but it was $350, $450 just a year ago, a year and a half ago. You look at eggs.
Not true. It wasn't $350, $450 a year ago. That's not true.
You look at groceries, it's all down. Everything's come down. Do you notice they don't mention affordability anymore? That's like an old-fashioned word. They brought up affordability, but they were
Everybody mentions affordability.
the ones that caused it. I didn't cause it. I came in, prices were way too high. We had the highest inflation in the history of our country. 48 years, they say. I say the history.
It was the highest in 48 years. But I don't like to tell the truth, so I say history. This guy is just in real time like, I know that here's what the real number is, but I lie. I just lie, and I say of all time, it's the highest it's ever been. They say 48 years. I say, fuck it, the highest it's ever been. Just cuz. I just lied just cuz.
But we had the highest, let's say in 48 years, the highest inflation. Prices were way high. Now I've got the prices down, and they're going down still further.
Nope.
But think of it. We brought fuel from $4, $3.50, $3.75 down to $1.99, $1.08. I was just told in Iowa $1.85.
Yeah. Iowa also, you guys have ethanol, like that they use ethanol. I remember when I lived in Iowa, gas was cheaper because of that. I think Iowa probably has some of the lowest gas prices, I would guess. I'm just looking what gas prices were when Trump took office, January 2025. He says it was, what did he say, $4.50? $3.20. Close. E85? Yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. But that leaves that problem, like you said, the hardest one to solve. People say they want our immigration laws enforced.
The hardest one to solve is.
You know, I remember a conversation that you and I had a year and a half ago with your Secretary of War, our friend Rachel Campos Duffy, and you said to me, you looked at me and said, it's going to be difficult when the New York Times runs a picture of a little kid being taken away from their mother. It's going to be difficult. And by the way, that basically happened to you a week ago. It was propaganda and it was false about a 5-year-old.
By the way, it was a totally false story
totally
about the 5-year-old.
fake story.
Yeah, totally.
Huh? The 5-year-old is still in jail. What do you mean it was a fake story? That happened. A kid was taken from his own driveway where his mom was inside, and they could have left the child with the mom, and they tried to use the child as bait to lure the mom out, and since she wouldn't come out, they took the child, and that child, as of yesterday, was still in detention. What do you mean it's a completely fake story? Why is Will Cain saying that? Yeah, just rewriting history right in front of our eyes. That's totally fake. What was fake? Thanks, John. John said if Trump was removed after impeachment, J6 probably would not have happened, and I agree that 2020 election fraud claims could have been a setup for election tampering and Doge erasing the evidence. Yeah. Melanie, thank you, said FDT. Pink, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. Sully says because Jen's amazing, go Pats. I agree this weekend. I think I'm rooting for the Patriots this weekend. Sorry, Seahawks fans. There's just no scenario where I can be on your side there. Did I miss any other ones here?
You're now dealing with the difficulty of the propaganda in the face of enforcing
and I knew
illegal
that, Will.
immigration.
I mean, I
you
said
did know.
It's always tough.
Are you still
so we
committed?
take out 25 murderers. We take out drug dealers. We take out a whole group of people by the thousands. And if we get one person a little bit wrong, headlines. But they don't talk about all the tremendous, the reason that we have Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah, it's our job to criticize you. It's not our job to cheerlead you, to suck your dick. If ICE makes mistakes, they should fix them. The problem is, every time ICE makes a mistake and there's a headline, Kristi Noem comes out and lies about it. And so she makes everything worse. And they complain, why are you reporting negatively? It probably wouldn't be so negative if you would stop fucking lying. Like when you tell us that Renee Good was trying to run over people who were getting a car unstuck, and then we see the video and that didn't happen, then now you've got more headlines. When Trump says that Renee Good ran over a man and he's lucky to be alive, and then we see the video and at worst he got bonked on the knee, now you've got more headlines. Stop fucking lying. We're going to criticize the government. That's our job. That's your job. If you're such a bitch that you can't handle criticism, perhaps a different job would be better for you. But Jesus Christ, now we're just complaining. They're always talking about the negatives. Yeah, that's their job. Our job is not to be your cheerleader, bud.
The crime down. I talk about that because it's only down for one reason. We took out so many criminals, but other states are way down. So the report came out there. Think of it. In the history of this country, we have the lowest number of murders. We have the lowest crime, the best crime numbers. That's despite the fact that millions, I say 25 million people, millions of people.
Yeah, made up. No, I say 25 million because the number that the number that they actually agree on is about 9 million.
Who were let in through the border by Biden. And many of those people were not people you want to have in the country.
So what?
Guys, can we just point out that Dustin is accusing me of lying? Said the car was not stuck. You're lying. Oh, Dustin. Somebody talk to Dustin for me. I can't do this right now. Dustin, the chat's going to take care of you. They're going to explain about who was lying about the car being stuck.
What's going to change? You put in Tom Homan. Have you spoken today to Tom Homan?
Well, yeah, I have. Tom is fantastic. Tom is a tough guy, but I've watched over the years, and he's gotten along with governors, and he gets along with mayors. Some people don't. Some people just want to do their job and leave me alone. And that's sort of okay, too. That's generally been okay. Most of them are happy. Memphis, Tennessee, very tough, very straightforward. We're taking the criminal out. We're getting them out, either putting them in jail, because some are so bad that you don't want to send them to where they came from because you're afraid they're going to come back. They're murderers. So some are very down and straight, and others, Tom, I've noticed.
Stound? Did he stound? Stound and straight?
As tough as he is, he gets along very good with governors and mayors. Now, I spoke to the mayor and to the governor yesterday, and they want to see it cleared up.
I'm so fascinated by your conversation with Governor Tim Walz. This man has suggested that this is a modern-day Gettysburg. He has likened his situation to Anne Frank in the Holocaust. He has said that ICE is your Gestapo army. And then you guys speak on the phone. I'm fascinated by that conversation.
He has not said that he was Anne Frank. That's silly. But Gestapo's fair.
Couldn't have been a nicer conversation. And in fact, I said to my people, I said, it's hard to believe that's the same guy I watch on television, or I watch in a debate not doing so well, or because we had a very reasonable conversation, very good conversation.
Oh.
If you believe it.
It's almost like maybe you should have called him months ago instead of spending all your time watching him on television and criticizing him based on interviews that you see. Maybe this phone call would have been better a few months ago.
Conversation. He'd like to get this thing over with. But think of it, in the whole country, we've done this so much. We have the crime down to a level that nobody ever, I campaigned a little bit on crime, a lot on the border. The problem is I gave you the best border in the history of our country. Nobody wants to talk about it anymore.
Nobody praises me enough. Oh.
Within 3 months of taking office, I had that border locked.
Nobody ever says I do good things.
Nobody even tries to come up anymore. It's easy now. Nobody even tries to come up. Before they were coming up by the millions. But nobody wants to talk about that. They only want to talk about whatever the last thing is. But we're taking out.
Yeah, bro. That's your job. He's such a bitch. He's such a thin-skinned little bitch. Take some criticism.
Thousands and thousands of criminals. And the worst thing that Biden did to this country, because, again, inflation, I can solve. All this stuff,
Except for inflation, you haven't solved. You're still at 3%. You've solved nothing with inflation.
Hardest thing to solve is when you have people brought into the country and you have to take those people. We have a very unfriendly court system, frankly, especially at the lower levels. Take those people and you have to say, I'm sorry, but you're going out. And in many cases, they're murderers. And, they shoot you. They kill you. You've seen that, where they kill you. You're after a murderer. Sir, you're going to have to come with me, and they end up shooting you. It's a...
Sir, come with me. Fuck. Dead again. Look, dude, I take criticism all the time, $10. You can ask the chat here. Even the Republicans that are here regularly, they'll tell you that I take criticism, and when I'm wrong, I admit that I'm wrong. Ask them.
Very tough job that they have.
I know you addressed it this morning. You talked about the incredible success, and it is an incredible success at the southern border. But you were asked, with the shift in Minneapolis and Tom Homan going to Minnesota, do you still have confidence in DHS Secretary Kristi Noem? You brought up the success at the border.
Look,
you do.
She was there with the border. Who closed up the border? She did, with Tom Homan, with the whole group. I mean, they closed up the border. The border is a tremendous success, one of the most secure borders in the entire world. We were laughing.
That's going to be really important to the people of Iowa, the southern border. It is directly affecting them. They really need to hear more about the southern border as citizens of Iowa.
Stock 1.5 years ago for the whole world. The whole world laughed at us. I had friends that said, is that real? You know, they'd look at a picture. You've been down to the border. They'd look at a picture of the border with hundreds of thousands of people pouring in like it was water. And they said, is that really taken? They can't believe it. They think it's one of these crazy movies that they make. The border was horrible. It was horrible. You know, I did the border twice. First time I won, 2016, I won on the border. But that border was nothing, and I fixed it immediately. It was great. We had great years, and we had a great economy. We had the best economy in.
Let's talk about that. That's by country. Let me talk about Trump's border policy here. I can pull this up. Where's the CBP data? Is this it? I've been trying to pull up CBP's website. It is broken as fuck. There we go. Let's look at his record. Fiscal year 19, total was 977,000. Fiscal year 18, it was 521,000. Fiscal year 17, it was 415,000. So it went up substantially every year that he was in office. Is he telling the truth? Let's go back to this. MAGA, I'm going to need you guys to see if he's telling the truth here. I need you to respond here. Let's go back a hair.
And they said, is that really taken? They can't believe it. They think it's one of these crazy movies that they make. The border was horrible. It was horrible. You know, I did the border twice. First time I won, 2016, I won on the border. But that border was nothing, and I fixed it immediately. It was great. We had great years, and we had a great economy.
Okay, now back to this. I fixed it immediately. He enters office in 2017. The previous year it had been 553,000. First year, it's down from the previous year. Then it goes up by about 106,000, and then it nearly doubles in 2019. I don't know why this doesn't give me 2020. Are they taking 2020 out? Let's see if I can get 2020. Boy, they need new administrators on the CBP website. It is slow moving. 2020, it went to full screen that. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. It is broken. Are they trying to not give me 2020? 400,000 Southwest border. Okay. So during COVID, it went back down. So did he immediately make it better? No. It got doubly worse while he was president the first time.
The best economy in history in 2016, my first term, and we rebuilt.
Also, nowhere near the best economy in history. There's no measure by which Donald Trump is anything more than average as far as economics, unless you're counting the stock market at all-time highs, which he'll probably say, but every president has that. The only place the economy was historic was in unemployment, but he was handed really low unemployment numbers, and that largely stalled.
Built the military, and we get the largest regulation cuts. We had the best job number. We had a great first term. This term seems to be blowing it away. I mean, the only thing we have is a Minnesota situation, and that is, I believe, easily resolved.
Okay.
Jeff said, where I live, under Biden, gas was $53.75 per gallon. Now under Trump, the gas station pays us $12.30 per gallon. That's crazy. God bless Trump.
You're about to take the stage here in Iowa. I imagine you're going to talk about the economy.
Yeah.
I'm curious what your plan is if the Supreme Court.
Oh, good
rules
point,
negative.
Armando. Robert Kraft donated money to Trump, and he's an SAer. That's right. I'm back on the Seahawks train. Sorry, Sully. Can't go with Bob Kraft. Jennifer said this is the only way I can tolerate him. Thanks. You're welcome.
On your tariffs, you talk about the tariffs.
We'll have to
a lot.
find another
is
way.
there,
Look,
is there a plan B?
Yeah, the tariffs have been indispensable towards success. We've taken in $600 billion in tariffs. I gave the farmers $12 billion last week. I took them out of tariff money. It's kept the...
They lost, I think, somewhere like 30 or $40 billion in revenue. So he gave them a fraction of that back. He taxed Americans extra money while China stopped buying our soybeans. He gave Argentina a bunch of money, and then China bought soybeans from them. He decimated our farmers, and then he's like, here's a little bit of money. Sorry about that. And he thinks that they're just going to all run to cover for him now. They're all going to run and be like, oh, we got to vote for this guy again. Good luck.
Unfair competition out of our country. Now, they can build their auto plant here, but they can't build a plant in some place with, labor costs for a penny and then sell it into this country and then charge people a lot of money for a car. So the only way they can do that, they have to build the plants here. So the big auto companies from Germany, from Mexico, from Canada, Mexico and Canada are literally, their plants are closing down. They're moving into this country. So we have more activity than
Who?
we've ever had. We have thousands of businesses all over the country being built. We have hundreds of big major factories between AI, autos, and many other things being built. We've never had a thing like this.
And you use them as a tool for world peace.
For world peace. We have to use
You forgot those fake wars you always talk about. You forgot about those wars that you ended. Remember, Will has to remind him. Remember your talking points, sir.
For world peace.
But what happens if the Supreme Court strikes down the tariffs?
We will find some other way of doing a similar thing.
And we'll have to pay all the tariffs back. We'll have to pay all that money we took in. We'll have to pay that back. So we're just going to lose all that money.
It'll be more inconvenient. It
I
won't
was
be
just
as
speaking
easy.
to some of the diners here today. David Ullman, he's lived in Iowa for a long time. He's in agriculture. He does express concern about the tariffs and the effect it's had on farmers
Natalie.
in Iowa.
Well, it's going to be don't forget, they just kicked in. And it's going...
They kicked in April. It's January. They kicked in April. What is he talking? This is not going to be a good answer. They kicked in April.
And we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars. And we've kept a lot of people out that want to come in and rip off our... For years, it was in the reverse. China would charge us tariffs. Other countries would charge us tariffs. I've totally reversed it. Japan gave us $550 billion. South Korea is supposed to give us $300.
Remember, he's asking about like the tariffs affecting his farm. Do you think these are good answers for a farmer? Do you think the farmer gives a flying fuck about this stuff?
$150 billion. But what happens is they're coming in, they're building plants, they don't have to pay tariffs. If they don't do that, so what's happening is we're getting a tremendous amount of business coming to this country, and they're coming in fast and sharp. I think the farmers are going to be the biggest beneficiary, because when you used to have people coming in and dumping their crops into the United States, and you guys were hurt, they're not allowed to do that because we're tariffing those crops.
But that wasn't the problem. The problem was they were able to sell their crops, and then you slapped dumb fuck tariffs on these other countries, and then they tariffed us, and then our farmers couldn't sell their crops anymore, so the farmers' crops all went to waste. Imagine telling that to a guy who just had a year where he couldn't sell his crop, and then Trump's like, actually the problem was before you couldn't sell your crop, but now you can. And he's like, I couldn't sell my crop. This was the first year I couldn't sell my crop. What are you talking about? It's the exact opposite of what Trump just said to that farmer.
Just a couple of more
I
questions.
think the farmers, in a way, and it's going to take a little while to kick in, and the farmers stuck with me the first time, and I was right with China. When China did a little bit of a number, we gave you $28 billion then, because it was a help because they were taken advantage of for years. We gave them 28. Now we gave them 12, sort of a minimal payment, $12 billion for the farmers. Nobody else would be able to do that. Nobody else would even think of doing that.
Yeah, because nobody else would have done the dumb fucking tariffs. Every time he's in office, he has to bail out the farmers. It was $80 billion last time. Every time this guy gets in office, he fucks over the farmers. I can't believe these folks in Iowa and Nebraska and like they voted for him again. Oh, he probably learned from that. Nope, right back to it. And while they lose their farms, his buddy J.D. Vance and all the rich people are buying up all the farms. So now the richest people among us now own all these farms, and these farmers are fucked. There's no good jobs for them. It's not like when they sell their farm, they can just go get a nice, good-paying job in Des Moines, in Davenport, in Iowa City. No. There's no jobs for them. So you take away their money, give it to rich people, and then you're like, hey, we did give you a little bit of a handout, though.
But the tariffs are going to be phenomenal for the farmers, but they just kicked in.
I just see some nods here as you're talking.
A lot of nodding.
A couple of
Thank you.
more questions. A couple of quick
Yeah,
more questions.
they all work for me. Literally, everybody nodding works for me.
One serious one. This whole Minnesota thing, it started because of a focus on fraud. It started because of illegal immigration and welfare fraud. The question is, will there be accountability? In
No.
Minnesota and beyond,
They were there long before Nick Shirley did that investigation. They're rewriting history again. It started because you don't like Tim Walz, because Tim Walz ran against you and he called you a dipshit. So you're trying to get revenge on him, and you're trying by going after his state, and you're going after California in the same way. But you guys were already there before Nick Shirley repurposed other people's investigations and called it his own.
Well,
other states, California.
Minnesota is one state. If you look at California, so in Minnesota,
Oh, he just immediately says California.
If they think it's $19 billion, triple it or quadruple it. And if we catch a lot of this fraud, and I felt it for a long time, but
JD said, you have no idea what you're talking about. We used to call that a blowhard. Blowhard is what your dad did to me last night, and he loved it. He loved it. He asked for more. He's already texted me 4 times today asking if he can come over and blow hard. So thank you.
now we know what's happening. And the answer is, yeah, there will be accountability. It's one of the little problems. You know, I happen to think, and I've said it from the beginning, that a lot of what's going on with respect to Minneapolis, you know, with what's happening with all the hoopla, is so people don't talk about.
You think it's a distraction?
I've said it from day one. It's a distraction because.
I said it from day one. Even before the story broke about the fraud stuff, it was a pre-distraction. That's how fucking good these Democrats are. They pre-distracted us from this story that we put out to cover up the Epstein files. Yeah, it was a pre-distraction. You know how goddamn dumb you have to be to believe that shit?
What you don't see is that we have hundreds of accountants from Todd and from all of the different people.
From Todd.
We have hundreds of accountants going over everything that's happening. And we're finding fraud on top of fraud on top of fraud. And I think...
Where is it? I can't wait to see it.
That they don't want that to happen. You're talking about $19 billion. Probably that's a minimal number. Now, you take that and you go to California, you think...
So take any number Trump ever says and divide it by 10. It used to be 9 billion. Now it's 15 billion. I'm just gonna predict it will come nowhere near 9 billion. The 9 billion figure is basically if everybody who was that had one of these daycares was doing fraud. If every single one of them was fraudulent, and we already know that most of them haven't been.
California is better. I would say California is worse. It's totally out of control. They don't know what they're doing out there. The governor is. I actually thought he was a pretty nice guy, but he has no clue what he's doing. Look at a railroad. He builds a railroad. It's like 20 times more expensive than it was supposed to be. And what they did to get
No, it's not.
down the cost, they made it shorter, so it doesn't go to San Francisco.
You saw what he said, right? He's claiming victory in Minnesota, by the way. He has posted that you have retreated in Minnesota, Governor Gavin Newsom, and he is encouraging people to keep the pressure up.
See, I haven't heard that
Good.
at all because it's just the opposite. I was called by the governor yesterday. I was called by the mayor yesterday. How do we do something? Please, how do we do something? I think it's bad for them. I don't think it's bad for us. I think it's bad for them.
Yeah.
Well, your polling says otherwise. Yeah. All right. We're done with Donald there. Let's get a couple more Iowa things, then we'll get out of here. Check comments real fast. Looks like, well, we almost got that gift goal wiped out. We got about 30 more minutes. If you could help us knock out that goal, that'd be greatly appreciated. A dollar train would wipe that out in a hurry. Amy Lynn says, all I want to say is South African farmers were brought in, record farm bankruptcies, J.D. Vance, and Acre Trader. Yeah. They're deliberately fucking over the farmers, deliberately, and they're giving it to rich people. And they just distract you with immigrants, so you keep cheerleading it because you're afraid of immigrants and trans people, I guess. All right, let's get to his actual rally. This is bad. Now, I lived in, I've told you guys before, I lived in the Quad Cities. The Quad Cities is Davenport, Moline. Where's my Iowa people? Quad Cities, Davenport, Moline, Rock Island, and Bettendorf, right? Bettendorf. And that's where you see like the John Deere Classic, which is it's on the border of Illinois and Iowa. That's where the John Deere Classic is. That's where John Deere is. Okay, so he's speaking to people in Iowa. Many people in Iowa have historically been employed by John Deere, and here's what he tells the people of Iowa.
Many of the people in the, we have a lot of very successful companies in here, but I know it's a very special deal because John Deere is doing $70 million in factory in North Carolina. It's brand new, the best in the world. And I think it's going to pay off very, very big. And if it doesn't, I have nothing to do with it. But if it does, I'm going to take full credit.
John Deere is doing so great elsewhere. These you don't want to tell Iowa and Illinois that John Deere is doing great in North Carolina. This is the problem with Donald Trump and like the cult in general. They don't care. These people that show up to this rally, they don't give a fuck. What source do you want me to cite there real quick, Bevo? I'm happy to cite any sources. Most of the stuff I've said, I don't think I've said anything today that I haven't cited before, but is there a particular piece of evidence you would like me to cite? I think the last thing I cited was that John Deere was in the Quad Cities. What evidence would you like me to cite here? You should ask your uncle, L Friends. Ask your uncle what he thought about that comment. What he thinks people think when he's talking about how like John Deere is doing great in North Carolina now. Also a good point, like also the other part of that. Like that's again Trump being honest. I don't take blame for anything, but if something goes well, I take credit for it. I mean, he's made a living his first year off of taking credit for the Infrastructure Act and the Chips and Science Act. He's been doing that all year. Like, look what I did. And it's just something that Joe Biden did. And then anything that goes wrong, Joe Biden did it. Like the tariffs are a problem. It's Joe Biden's fault. I'll check your previous posts if you've cited them here. Usually not on my posts, but usually in my live streams. But for anybody that's MAGA here, if you have a specific claim you would like me to fact check, if you just say fact check it, I don't really know what you're talking about. But if there's a specific claim you want me to fact check, tag me, put it in the chat, ask the mods to help you to get me. I'll pull up fact checks. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong. There are times when I get my stats mixed up. It happens all the time. So you should fact check me. Everybody should fact check me. If I get it wrong, we'll admit it. But yeah, happy to do it anytime. All right, keep it going here. I'll skip that. Trump was interrupted by protesters. Of course, he just tells everybody that they're paid. It's the right's new thing now. They just don't. Anytime somebody's protesting Trump, it's honestly like they can't figure it out because they can't like fathom not worshiping Donald Trump, not just believing everything that comes out of his mouth, even the stuff that you know are lies. Like you convince yourself it's true. And so anytime somebody opposes him, they're like, oh, they must be paid. But now we're going to turn on the racism, which historically might work okay in Iowa, but today, maybe not so much. Maybe Iowa's moved past that a bit and they're hurting economically. Maybe playing the racist card doesn't work. Let's see the reaction.
We need people to come in legally, but they have to show that they can love our country, not hate our country. They have to show that they're not going to blow up our shopping centers, blow up our farms, kill people.
I'm sorry. Have immigrants been blowing up shopping centers and farms? Am I unaware of this? Have I been missing big stories of immigrants blowing up shopping centers and farms?
They're coming in legally, but they cannot come in unless they come in legally into our country, and we're letting some great people come in. They have to show that they can love our country. They have to be proud. Not like Ilhan Omar. Did you see that wise guy? You know, she's always talking about the Constitution provides me with the following.
She's always talking about the fucking law and our rights that she's granted by the Constitution. God, what a bitch. Pisses me right off when she talks about the Constitution. Well, the Constitution provides me. Yeah. Yeah, she keeps talking about how even though she's thinks different thoughts than Donald Trump, she has constitutional rights. Boo!
You know, the Constitution, she comes from a country that's a disaster. It's considered, I think, it's not even a country, okay? It barely has a government. I don't think it does. They're good at one thing, pirates. But they don't do.
Now he's just biting off Nick Shirley's shit. Now he's not even writing his own lines. He's just biting off Nick Shirley's lines. Bro, don't steal Nick Shirley's lines. Second of all, if you know anything about Ilhan Omar, yes, she comes from Somalia. She wound up in America because there was a civil war in Somalia, and her family became refugees. And they lived in a refugee camp for years, waiting on another place to go. And the United States of America said, hey, we've got a spot for you. And that's how she wound up in this country. Because as a child in a corrupt country, they had to flee that country so they would not be massacred. She was a kid when she left Somalia. Donald Trump acts like she was running Somalia and then was like, oh, I fucked that up. I got to come here. She's lived in America far longer than she ever lived in Somalia. This is just straight up xenophobia. He criticizes her for citing the Constitution and then mocks Somalia. And it's just great. Like, it's just great to see the xenophobia. Like, this guy, old toothless Joe Jackson, he did the xenophobia thing. He said the thing that me and my dipshit friends say. I don't care if you call us racist. We know. We know you don't care. We're not going to stop. Because some people do care. And some of us don't like racism. So we'll just point it out.
That anymore. You know why? Because they get the same treatment from us as the drug dealers get. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, murder them. Yeah, just fucking murder them. If they're from Somalia, murder them. All they're good at is being pirates, he said. It's a real thing the president said.
You people are the real racists.
Thanks, Alex. Shut the fuck up.
You're the ones that are racist for pointing out racism. That's actually racism. If something happens in front of you and it's racist and you say that it's racist, then actually you're the racist. Cool, Alex. That's going to fucking kill in your Discord server later. Ty said, I'm from QC, love in Moline. All my family that worked at Deer Harvester in East Moline have been laid off. Yeah. I bet they were thrilled, though. They must be happy now, though, Ty, because Donald Trump let them know that they're thriving in North Carolina. Also, all our UPS stores have closed, and Rock Island Center is in talks of being merged with Davenport. Jesus. I didn't know that. That sucks, man. Alicia said, you and Jen rock like peanut butter and jelly. Thank you. Thank you, Rhonda. Did I miss that? Got that one. Justin said, Justin Kopacetic on YouTube. Thank you, Justin. Sean, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. Jolie said, great show. Always love your content. Thank you. Jumar said, who says Trump can't dance?
He was backing it up on Renee Good being a domestic terrorist. MAGA is a fatal brain disease, said Lee. I got that with Jeff as well. All right. Next clip. Is this? Oh, that's the same one. I'll skip that. Skip that. I did want to show this actually. So Ashley Hinson, she's a Republican congresswoman. She's now running for Senate in Iowa, and this just made me laugh because she's about to cite a bunch of problems that she created with her votes. Her and the Republicans created. And so now Republicans have so little to run on that they're running on, we're going to fix the problems that we created. You can trust us. Here you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are just getting started. The fight to restore our country and usher in a new era of opportunity has only just begun. We need to keep cutting taxes for workers. We need to eliminate the waste, fraud, and abuse we're seeing that does nothing but drive up costs for all the rest of us. We need to protect Social Security and Medicare. We need to...
Did I catch a Medicare in there? We need to protect it. Didn't you vote to cut it?
lower health insurance premiums for everybody.
Oh, what was your guys' plan for lowering health insurance premiums again? Oh, getting rid of auto pay. I remember now. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, right? We got to protect Medicare. Maybe don't cut it. We got to lower health insurance premiums by taking us off auto pay.
We need to focus on prescription drug prices, get those down, and we need to make...
How are you going to do that? How are you going to get the prices down if you have no leverage? You need leverage to negotiate those prices down. If anybody remembers, Trump wrote an executive order. Guess what? Prices aren't down. They don't really care because executive orders don't really have any power.
Sure, again, we're standing up for Iowa's farmers and our agriculture community. So,
of course, standing up for Iowa farmers by tariffs that decimated their farms.
We have so much more to achieve to keep making America great again, and that is why I am running to be your next United States Senator, and I'm proud to have the endorsement of President Trump to get that done. Thank you.
Think that message is going to work? It's a pretty tepid response there. I don't think people are going to show up to fix Medicare and vote for the person who cut Medicare. She's not well liked. That makes sense. I got that one. All right, just one more thing. Two more things, I guess, actually. I want to show this again. We showed this the other day, but just a reminder of just how unpopular, how historically unpopular Trump is now. And we can see it in our chat, by the way. There's way less of you than there used to be. And you're far more outlandish than you used to be. Like there's no more like middle ground MAGA. They've all left. They're like, we're not doing this shit anymore. It's just the crazies that we're left with. But let's look at some of his polling. 373 days into Trump's term, the president's net approval rating is minus 18%. Down 0.1 since last week, 38% approve, 56% disapprove, 5% not sure. Cue the, you're going to believe the polls. Now, these are net approval rankings by president. You can see Biden here in his first year. Steady decline, a little uptick. You can see this is Trump's first term, this little dotted line. Steady decline, little uptick. But Trump's second term, historic lows. No uptick in sight. Both Trump and Biden at this point had bottomed out and were going the other way, not Trump. Let's look here at net approval by issue. When Trump took office, he was about +5 on inflation and prices. Now he's down to about minus 28. Incredible decline on inflation and prices. That's what won him the election, largely. Taxes and spending, it was positive. Now he's negative 20. Jobs and economy, that was one of his best issues. He was 10 points above. Now he's nearly 20 points below. Immigration, another positive. Huge issue for him. He was doing great on that. Plus like 12, 13. Now we're down around minus 10. National security. That's the only place he isn't completely underwater, and he's still down 10 points. So you tell me going forward, like, what policies are going to fix this? How's he going to fix inflation and prices by November? How's he going to fix taxes and spending? He already did. He was popular before he put in his tax and spending plan. Now his tax and spending plan is in place, and everybody's like, fuck you, dude. Jobs and economy. What's his plan? His plan is this, the tax and spending. He said the taxes were supposed to bring back jobs. Nope. Immigration, what's the plan there? A majority of Americans still say they want everybody here illegally to be deported. And yet he's underwater. So the only way he gets this number up is he's got to stop this ICE bullshit. He's got to stop the masked men going around beating the shit out of American citizens. And he's going to have to backtrack there. And I don't know if he's willing to do that because he's going to be afraid that he looks weak if he backtracks. But if you look at any of these issues, there's not a lot of ways for him to get better on these issues. Net approval rating by state. What state is he doing? Texas, he's down 17 points. His mainstays, Florida, he's down 7.5. Now, those are probably going to stay red. But look at Georgia, a toss-up state, down 18 points. Let's head over to South Carolina, deep red, down 7 points. Let's go to swing states like North Carolina, down 13.6. Virginia, down 17 points. Let's go to the swing states he won. Pennsylvania, down 15 points. Ohio, down 10. Wisconsin, down 17.5. Michigan, down 15.5. Where's Minnesota? Down 21 points in Minnesota. Indiana, underwater. Look at Iowa, down 8, almost 9 points in Iowa. We can go to Nebraska. He's down 1.2. This is about as deep red as you get. It's upside down in Nebraska. How about Arizona? Down 17 points. We've pulled this math here. Unless there's something that has never happened before, he's going to lose the House and the Senate. Unless, again, a miracle. It would be the only time ever that it happened. The only time ever that somebody was this far underwater at the start of the year in midterms and won. Go down to some of these other numbers. Approval rating by demographic. Men, he's underwater with now. Women, of course, way underwater, like nearly 30 points underwater. Men, it looks like about 5 points underwater. People over 65, underwater. Even with white people. This is what I've been saying to you all along, is that there are a lot of white people who are racist. There are a lot of white people who racism isn't a deal breaker, but like apparently we've now gone too far. He's underwater with high school or less education, people who don't have a high school degree. That's like his base. Some college, way underwater. College grad, way underwater. Post grad, 40 points underwater. What's going to happen in the next year to boost these numbers? Was it negative in Missouri? Where was it? I didn't even look at Missouri. Josh Hawley's -2 in Missouri. Is there anywhere Utah's the only place he's up over in the West. Idaho, he's up, way up in Wyoming. It's interesting that like none of the border states, but all these people that like love to talk about immigration, West Virginia, Tennessee, Arkansas, barely above water, Oklahoma, Alabama, South Dakota, barely above water, Montana, he's doing good, yeah. Even Hawaii, down 38 in Hawaii. Alaska, he's down 6 points. In Utah, anti-Trump. I'm going to cover a Utah story tomorrow. I'm from there, and I've had a bunch of friends sending me stuff about Utah. What's the most important issues facing America? Inflation and prices. 23% of Democrats, 24% of Republicans say that's the most important. If we go up here and we look at inflation and prices, he's buried underwater. Jobs in the economy, we know he's buried underwater. And this is going up. That's not good. He needs this to go down. Healthcare, underwater. Taxes and government spending, he's underwater. Civil rights, he's underwater. Civil liberties, underwater. Only dipshits are still on board at this point. Yeah, you. Nah, Trump's fine. Nah, he's fine. We don't really care about how any of this stuff goes. We're just in it for Trump. So it looks like the economy by miles is going to be the most important issue. If it's anything like previous elections, it's going to be the economy. He hasn't fixed the economy. He hasn't made it better. It's gotten worse. We're also looking at an AI bubble that could entirely collapse the economy this year. How do you contribute to those numbers? Take the poll. This is from, the sources were multiple polls. You had the YouGov Economist poll, BLS Cooperative Election Study, U.S. Census, Current Population Survey, 50+1, Pew Research, and The Economist. There we go. How do we fix that, Republicans? We desperately, I know that you guys will be upset if Democrats win the midterms, and I don't have a lot of faith in Democrats at all. But even just stopping the bleeding at this point is a positive. I don't think we're looking at a good 3 years. No matter what happens, I don't think the next 3 years for America are going to go well. I think that we're most likely going to have an economic collapse. If it happens after the midterms, it'll get blamed on the Democrats. That makes me nervous because people just see what happens right in front of their face, and they don't go back and look at history and what caused these problems. And we have a fascism problem. We have a stupidity problem. We have a dick riding problem. And we have a problem where there's a handful of people, a bunch of billionaires who are running the entire country. And they don't want democracy anymore. They want their own country. They want all the power. They want to live in a police state. They want to live in a technocracy. And if we could just get some of you dumb motherfuckers to wake the fuck up, it would be nice if a lot of you did. But it'd be if you guys could just figure out, like, I got to do what's best for me. What's best for you is not a technocracy. It's not Donald Trump handing the reins over to private equity. That's not what's best for you. I encourage all of you to look at your finances, look at your future, and look at the policies in place and say, like, are we headed in the right direction for me and for my family? And do the analysis yourself. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody else's. For any Republicans here, we can tell you how to do it. If you think, if you think that we're going to fix the national debt, if you believe the national debt is a problem, Google, what is the national debt predicted to be at the end of Trump's term? I think you'll be surprised to know it's going to go way up. Way up. Say, like, do I want to be able to afford a house? There's a couple things that need to happen for you to be able to afford a house. Housing prices probably need to come down, but the dollar also has to remain strong. Housing prices have leveled off, and the dollar's dying. Do I want access to, like, affordable goods? If you do, then ask yourself, are tariffs giving me more affordable goods? Are grocery prices coming down? Are clothes prices coming down? Are they stable? Because they rarely ever come down. Trump says he's going to bring them down for you. He's not going to. No, he was never going to. Are they stable? What does the future look like? Am I happy with the car that I drive? Would I like a more affordable vehicle? Would I like a vehicle that has renewable energy? What does the future look like for me being able to drive a car? If I'm not going to drive a car, is there public transportation? Are they going to invest in that? I'm really interested to know, like, projection-wise from Republicans, how do you see this going in the future? What makes you think that this is going to get better? What makes you think that it's even going to stay the same? I saw that, Drew. We covered that earlier. The FBI executed a search warrant at Fulton County. So far, no details that I've seen. Illusion said, you said economic collapse. Here's your money. Ty said, will 47 fake an assassination to win the midterms? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think he's going to last the whole presidency. I think he's going to bow out at some point and take a pardon. So that's a crazy guess. Odds are not in my favor that that's going to happen. But is there anybody here like that can tell me what you think? Yeah, this guy. Gas is down. Gas is down. Everything else is up. Why are you focused on only gas? Why, when we're talking about just general prices, why are you only focused on gas? Do you care about you? Do you care about your family? Or do you care about Donald Trump? Because it seems like when we have these economic discussions, what you guys are most interested in is celebrating Donald Trump. And maybe it's a lack of education. Maybe you don't understand economics. It's not that difficult. Maybe that's what it is. But just be honest. I was just honest. Are gas prices down? Yep, they're down. Are other prices? No. What's the reality for most Americans? More Americans are in more debt than they've ever been in their entire life. Wealth inequality is at all-time highs. The American dream, like it used to be, I think, like 24 years old was the average home buyer. Now we're into the 30s. People can't afford homes. So who's buying the homes? Corporations. What do they do with those homes? They rent them out at a profit. So then what? Then they want about 30% of your income. So you get 30% of your income goes towards your rent, and then you'll never be able to afford a home because you can't save money. You need money for a down payment. But you can't ever save money for a down payment. Plus, you're living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you're living off your credit cards. Then it starts dinging your credit score. I'm just asking you to project into the future with the policies that are here. And it seems like a lot of you are like, I just trust Trump. I just trust that he's going to get shit done. And I think that's a strange place to be as an adult human being, to be like, I trust the government. I trust the politicians. Certainly Donald Trump would never lead me astray. Why do you think he even understands any of this? What makes you think he understands economics? I'm so dry mouth. I'm looking for something. Hurry up and answer my question before you block me. Why do Democrats get to ignore federal immigration laws? Who is it? What Democrats are ignoring federal immigration laws? Immigration laws are run by the federal government, and the entire federal government is run by the Republicans right now. So what do you mean? I appreciate that, facts over things. No, I trust no politician with my money. I trust my eyes when I go out in the world and see for myself. Yeah. And when you see for yourself, it's not going weird, or it's not going well. What am I lying about, Dragon? I'll talk to the chat for like 5 more, and we'll get out of here. What do you think I'm lying about? Trump didn't stop corporations from buying single homes. This guy, this is the other part that I think you guys don't understand. You hear Trump say something and you think that's the law. You think Trump writing an executive order is the law. Trump is saying things that are popular, but he can't do that. You would have to write a law. Congress would have to pass a law. So notice, when you say notice, I didn't address that. Notice that you just believe him. You're proving the point here is that you guys think because Trump says something, it is real. Fucking fact check something. The president saying they can't buy houses is not law. And I don't even know if he signed an executive order on this one yet. It's been hard to keep track. But even if he did, corporations can still buy houses. That hasn't gone away. Maybe because he went to the same business school, very highly regarded people that understand the economy. Thanks, Drew. Yeah, that's why people think Trump understands economics, because he's rich and he went to a good school. Not because they look at what he says. Again, you just trust him. Executive orders, you think that, Billy, I want to know, do you think if Donald Trump wrote an executive order that said corporations can no longer buy houses, do you think that's enforceable? You think then if a corporation buys a house, that if they went to court, that they would win? The government would win there? That's a good point. I was shouting the Epstein files were going to be released because Trump made it a law. I did not, admittedly, I didn't know Pam Bondi was just going to ignore the law. But that's the state of affairs that we have in this country right now. The government, the president, the executive branch is just like, we don't fucking care about the law anymore. And you guys are like, nice. Nice. That's not true. I don't think I fact checked Trump. Can you think of something I said Trump lied about that he didn't lie about? These are your own. I think these are your projections, folks. When you say stuff like that, you think just because Trump says something, it's a lie. No, it's when he says something, you think it's true. Now you're projecting that back on me. I've agreed with some of the stuff Trump said today. Horrible podcast. Goodbye. This isn't a podcast, dipshit. I agree, Drew, but I agree. Dems should get on board and they should write that law. I don't know if anybody's doing it right now. We should look into that. All right. Any other questions, MAGA? Go do some research and come back tomorrow. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Let me check comments one more time. I'll get out of here. Got that. Chrissy said Republicans list off the problems but never offer any solutions. It's because they don't. They literally don't have any. The solution is always Dems bad, immigrants bad, Joe Biden bad. Damien said $2 for my favorite grifters. Thank you. Jim said Gen C Discord DM. Alicia said you and Jen rock like peanut butter and jelly. I think I got that. All right. I think I got all those. Jen, was there a Discord DM I was supposed to see? Did you send it to me?
Yeah, it's from Cascus. It's from China.
Sorry I missed the last 2 days of streams. Keep them honest. Fuck pedo, Trump, touch grass. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow morning, every weekday morning.
You missed Christie's.
Christie's? Where? No, I just read that right before I talked to you. I just read that.
Okay. Then I wasn't listening to you.
How dare you? Anyways, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning, every morning, weekday morning, 8:30 a.m. to noon Pacific Standard Time, right here, wherever you watch today. Thank you guys for your continued support. Just a reminder, we have merch in our bio. You can get the healthcare hoodie. Sounds like a good time to start wearing your healthcare hoodie because Republicans are admitting now that our healthcare system is broken. For-profit healthcare is an absolute scam, and it cannot continue to happen. We might just convince Donald Trump might just throw up a Hail Mary at the midterms and introduce single-payer healthcare, which would admittedly burn like a motherfucker. But I would have to agree. I would have to support it. I would have to say, good job. Maybe we can convince him to do it. I'm fine with Trump getting a little bit of praise as long as the American people also benefit. But look for those hoodies on our merch website. You can catch the replays on Twitch, on YouTube. You can follow us on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. And I think that's it. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your friends, your families. Touch grass if grass is available to you. Drink lots of water. Stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.